Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm RxOliver. These are my friends, and tonight we're playing Coriolis, the Great Dark. This is session 6. I'm here with the whole crew tonight. The Daves, and the Bryans, and Max. Our Games Master will introduce our game and give us a recap. Take it away, Brian.
Alright, so, we left off last time, and I guess for the recap, I can go ahead and shift us over there. We were in the Golden Ape.
Maisie was about to slap Edris.
Edris was doing.
Surprise me.
Edris was doing the worst chatting up of a barmaid I've ever seen in my life, in my history of role playing and all the games I've played. And
This coming from
I
the
don't think he was doing that bad.
Yeah,
coming from me as well. Exactly.
Casting over down there.
It's coming
Yeah.
from.
I remember it being a pleasant conversation.
I thought
So- It was David. Well, we'll get to that. So, we started the previous day. Well, I mean, technically, I guess it's still the 14th. So earlier in the day, we had several things happen. The group had just woken up from a nice rest and then had various things to look into. Ozri went to go have another interaction with First Servant Kerr, whose condition is not great, though Ozri is fairly certain he's just under the weather. Ozri is still kind of concerned about everything that's kind of floating around about this Coriolis assassin. I think with some reason, good reason, is concerned about how their actions might look on the other Coriolites, Ozri and others as well. So that interaction went fairly well. First Servant Kerr said that he was going to see what he could find out, essentially. He was going to try to speak to someone to learn more about both who potentially took delivery of the not the blight spiders, but the heirloom spiders, the drones, and see if he could find, if not himself, find someone who could give you some more information on the Coriolis assassin Davudan.
And also implants.
Oh yes, and the implants, right? Who would have had the capability, or does have the capability, of installing the implant that allows the control of the heirloom spiders? So that's where we left that. Garita had a meeting with Lee, her contact in the Zapti, and Lee, kind of, I think, probably already told you some things that you already kind of knew. That Tamar Zarab is probably a dirty cop, probably is covering up the murder of Levan Najjar. No idea why or for whom. Probably not for herself, not for the Zapti, but for someone that I don't think has been discovered as yet. Also, Garita requested if Lee could get her essentially a conceal and carry permit, allowing her to carry at least a pistol in the more civilized areas of Ship City. And he said it would be rough, but he could do that for her. So he's going to be looking into that. We had Rico and Ozil go up to Astrolab Tower to meet with a navigator, Silas, about setting up, or preparing to set up, I guess I should say, a access to the Ramda obelisk on the surface of Ship City. There was some back and forth. not great back and forth, if we're honest. Some not our two smoothest, slickest characters going to have this meeting. But they did come to a deal offering Navigator Silas 25% of the take of shards from their next delve. They were also trying to figure out, can we just go delve something really easy and quick? They're trying to double deal already. We'll see what happens there.
I will point out that was Osric's suggestion. He felt that they were betraying the guild by making that deal.
That's right.
I feel like we're not the first guild members and won't be the last guild members to make deals like that to get things done.
Yes, but they're not me.
That's true. But I did remind Osric that this is not unheard of in the guild, but I understand Osric's point of view. Sure. And then last but not least, we have...
Oh, no. Not last. I made a fungal meal for myself and Edris.
That's true. There was a meal time with a mind-expanding fungal meal that Edris and Osric both consumed, for which they both still should be dazed.
Yeah.
But they also gain a bonus die on any perception-based tests until they next sleep. So that's good to remember. But then after that meal, or before, I don't remember exactly
after.
down to
we
that
went to the saloon.
Detail. Was it after? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, before the saloon, though, Edris...
you can see in 3D, but your thoughts just keep going round in a loop, and you can't get out of that. You somehow keep getting back into that same loop you were in. You're like, oh no, I'm back there again. That's how it feels.
So before the saloon, though, and before lunch, Edris went out, spent some time learning some, I think, intimidation or interrogation type skills, and then also found the location of where this flattened packet of matches came from with the golden ape on it, which they discovered came from a cantina in Aluminum Bay called the Golden Ape. So then they all went there, and David, Osric, promptly went to the second floor, found a table, sat down, went to sleep.
I'm no good with alcohol. She forced it on me.
That's true. She did offer you all some very smooth but very powerful alcohol. But then after a discussion with Edris, which went fairly well, because Edris is fairly smooth, they discovered that Gar Butaleb, the owner of the Blue Garuda that was at the scene of Levan Najar's death, or at least a feather of it was, and assumingly, potentially, his partner, as they were both seen as entering and both signing into the old archive together, is currently, or according to Maisie, I believe that was her name, Maisie.
Yep.
Last she knew, he was taking residence at the Sedalian Rose, or some people just refer to it as the Blue Rose because you can see it once you step outside of the Golden Ape, this kind of neon blue glowing rose above a hotel, just kind of across the way and slightly down a bit, very, very close. So it never came up in conversation, but being that she knows where he was staying, you all, or anybody who's paying attention, is fairly aware that Gar probably spent time in here. Well, I think she did mention that Gar and Najar actually have both been in, because you did ask about that. So that also was clarifying that Najar and Gar Butaleb actually spent time together. It's not that... I think there was some thought that maybe Gar was the one who assaulted Najar and took the stone, but it seems like they were partners, from the way that Maisie described their interactions when they came here for meals. So that's where we are. You're still at the Golden Ape. It is still roughly afternoon-ish. It is the afternoon shift. on the 14th of Eridani. What are you guys doing?
Oh, by the way, Brian, in case you forgot because I put you off because I asked for a recap, you might. Did you have a thing prepared, like your thing that you always do at the start?
Oh, I didn't prepare one today.
Right, okay, cool.
So let me. And that's my fault.
No, just making sure you've not missed one because of me.
No. Let me just freestyle one, I guess.
Oh no, you don't have to.
No, I want to. We gotta have
sure.
something. It's part of it, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was just making sure you hadn't missed something on because I'd put you off because I was asked for a recap. Sorry.
I'm probably gonna have to transcribe this later into my notes, but here we go. So, Aluminum Bay, clattering crates, thumping machines, steam billowing. It's not as difficult to see as in the haze, but it's definitely dense. Dense is the feeling that you get in Aluminum Bay. Cranes overhead, moving crates, hexacrates from one location to another. Dock workers and ship workers, sometimes arm in arm, sometimes at arms in the streets. Not as chaotic as the chasm, but definitely as busy. The shadow of the great ship Debaran currently enshrouding everything in a dark, ruddy light. The light of Jamua, the star, filtering behind it. You can see the form of the Debaran, this great ship just eclipsed in the sun. Aluminum Bay is the port, the lifeline of the Great Dark. Any from the far colonies know Aluminum Bay quite well. They spend time here, coming into and leaving the city. They know how important trade is to those colonies that are scattered out among the dark. This is why there is hope. This life, this industry. This is why humanity thrives. And so,
very good.
You find yourself in Aluminum Bay, assuming you leave the Golden Ape, assuming somebody wakes up Ozri.
Gently.
Oh. Wake him up, poke him.
No, gently.
Bedtime already?
Yeah, I think so. For you, mate.
Ready?
Okay.
Was that nice? Well,
so as you step,
I'll see you back at the ship. I'll be long in a bit.
Probably best.
That's a good question. What are you gonna do?
Probably best we stick together on the way back.
Well,
if you can't do without me, I suppose I better guide you.
It's only afternoon. So I'm thinking that we have a look at this hotel. If we can.
Okay.
But I'm obviously discussing this with my fellow crew members. If we could find out what room he's in, we could possibly either.
What hotel? We can sleep back on the ship.
Oh.
Don't need to waste your rook on buying rooms.
Osric, just hum to yourself quietly for a second.
You've missed the whole conversation,
what?
mate.
Yeah.
Go on, Edris.
Because I'm still dazed as well. But if Najjar and Gar spent time at that hotel, maybe there's a clue there. I don't know. I'm just spitballing while my brain does.
If there was a way we could find out
strange things,
what room they were in, but I don't know how we would get into it or what it would even do for us getting into it, because there'll have been somebody else in there since. How many days ago were we talking about?
We can't make an assumption. Well, we can make an assumption.
Well, assumingly, Gar is still alive.
Mm-hmm. So
there's no indication.
I suppose. Aye. Good point.
No, it's just an extra play. If we at least if we go there, we could eliminate it, or we might find something, or...
I agree, Edris. I think you're right. What do you think,
Well,
Steve?
do you want me and Ashes to lead the Zapti away while you kind of deal with this?
If you'll recall, you kept the Zap. Oh well, when you guys came out to the Golden Ape, the Zapti was gone.
Oh, yeah.
Like he didn't follow you,
Don't-
that you're aware of.
How far...
We could get some perception checks to see if anybody notices
I'm thinking,
anything.
how far is this hotel from where we're standing if we're just outside the gate?
Oh, it's literally just down. It's across the street down the block.
Well, we
like
can have a
it's.
gander around and see if there's any unusual folk around.
Absolutely.
I'll do that then, because I've got a bonus die for perception.
Okay. So as you step out of the Golden Ape back into Aluminum Bay proper, you can hear the grav engines of several shuttles whining as they lift off, and you can see them crest above some of the warehouses and other buildings. Going out, because there is kind of a field over this part of Aluminum Bay, to where, you know, somebody who doesn't know the field is there is seeing that it's kind of open to space. You can see the great ship Dabaron, you can see Jamua, the first and last star, but there is a field, and so you can see kind of a ripple as some of these shuttles pass through this field and out into space.
Are we all
Get
rolling?
perception rolls happening. Yeah, I said you can make perception rolls.
Who's that?
I was too busy paying attention to you to make sure you didn't walk into any posts or anything. I didn't see anything. I was too busy watching.
Well, it's all right. I'm propping Edris
If
up.
you're not-
He looks a bit kind of bad on his feet, so
wired,
I'm
yeah,
propped
no,
in.
I'm on the ball, I am.
If you're not going to push your rolls, make sure you accept them.
That I did.
It's perception, so I'm not going to push because it was out. Well, saying
Okay.
that, I'm using the talent, so I'm having a look around. It is a active perception rather than a passive. I am going to push it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Still no, though. But you
Still
will lose some
nothing.
more
Lost
hope.
2 hope. Oh no.
Keep an eye on that hope. Let me know if you ever break.
Oh shit! I've only got 3. That can't be right.
You're still okay.
I didn't think I'd lost any. Where did that come from? I must have lost a few in the last session.
What's your max? Yeah, I think you lost.
I think
a few
my
in the
max
last
is
session.
fairly healthy. Like I think my max is 8. I'm down to 3 of 8.
So you just lost 2. So that means you lost 3 last session, which doesn't sound out of the realm of
That's not
possibility.
mad, yeah.
Okay, so also I didn't think about it at the time, but you all did have a shot of that coal hall in the Golden Ape. So if any of you were down hope before this roll, you can restore 1 hope, because drinking coal, as long as you don't overdo it, will restore hope.
Thank you.
I overdid it.
I had 2 or 3.
If you overdid it, then you're dazed, but you're already dazed, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I only had 1, but for me, that's overdoing it.
Right.
Oh, lightweight.
So I'm back up
Oh,
to
yeah.
4. I'm 50% now.
Okay, so everyone except Oziel, who maybe is being affected a little bit by that rocket fuel you were just served, although the sandwich was quite good, the roast, the leftover roast sandwich. Right, might be a lot of people around too, throwing you off because it is quite busy in the bay. Everybody else, first of all, it's fairly apparent to anybody who rolled a 1. No, there is no one following you.
I'm
currently.
plucking out my eyelashes. I was too busy plucking out the eyelashes one at a time.
Oh, that's not good.
It's not.
So nobody is currently following you. With
do it when I'm
3, there's not much more I can give Edris, so I'll just say you're certain that no one is following you, and I'll give you a little bit of extra description because I think you said you were checking out the rows as we move over to the Saladian rows. Okay, so first of all, let's make the rows visible. There you go. Oh, nobody's here. Let me pull you into the scene so you're all in Aluminum Bay. If you want to click on the rows, you can all go to the rows now.
So cool.
Ooh, that's in
This
the
is-
wrong picture. Let's do that one.
And this is the hotel, right?
So yes, this is the hotel. The Saladian Rose.
And do we know what Saladian is? Is that a word in our language that we're familiar with?
So
Yes, it's a kind of lettuce. It's just slightly alien. So
Yes, David.
that is an excellent question, and I would have to do some quick research. But yes, it is a word. It is tied to the third horizon on a certain level. So I'll look that up a little bit later. But yeah, it does. It doesn't have a super amount of meaning right now, but it is a cultural word.
Not significant to what's going on with us. Just it's a word from that culture. Cool. I thought so.
Correct.
Just checking. Yeah. Cool.
So the Rose is a rundown 4-story spacer hotel. It's on the edges of the docks, Aluminum Bay.
Look! It rents room by the hour. Oh, yep. I've not seen that before.
It does.
Well, who needs an hour's sleep?
Does somebody want to explain it to Ozri?
You apparently.
For when people
I'm like,
need to have meetings and important meetings.
Right.
And for power naps when you're just been agitated so much that you've used up all your energy and you just have to rest.
Is Osric that cloistered?
Yes.
Ozil is.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know why people get a hotel for 1 hour. Ozil's not got a clue.
That's fair.
I think I'm ignorant to that kind of stuff.
So
I would look at my Ozil and shake my head.
The Rose itself is tucked, nestled, one might say, between a factory hall, which you can hear a lot of noise coming out of, probably at all hours, which I'm sure makes the Rose a wonderful place to sleep, and what looks to be a large warehouse.
That's loud, isn't it? Ooh.
Thumping and clanging.
My hearing is a bit boosted at the moment, and that's loud.
I can see the noise, not hear it.
Yeah, right. You can see the colors.
I hate the noise. I'm pulling at my earlobe.
There is the Rose barely seems to fit between the two. It's so tightly packed in there, but there is a bit of an alley. It's tight, but there is a bit of an alley, and there is, Edris will notice, an emergency exit ladder that is in the alley that seems to go upwards and connect to all 4 stories. This place, who's from Aluminum Bay? Is it Edris?
Much like the common fire escape of America that we're used to. That
yeah,
thing in
exactly.
Yeah.
Edris would know this is one of those places that people go when they have nowhere else to go, or they prefer not to be seen. It is a place generally you would guess that respects its patrons' privacy.
It's where people cheat on their wives. I know, we get it.
That's part of it too. Yeah. I mean, you can get long-term rooms here as well. And if you had to guess, although the frontage is relatively small, it probably goes back fairly far. Mm-hmm. And in fact, if you look down the alleyway, the alley at a certain point is blocked by either some kind of fencing or some kind of connection to the nearby building. Maybe it just gets too tight. But even that goes back a good, 10, 15 meters before it looks like it becomes impassable.
A lot of rooms, probably.
Yes, with 4 stories, and if it's quite deep, there could be a lot of rooms depending upon their size.
Over 100.
You would imagine that being that this is kind of like a spacer hotel, it's not as tight as maybe like a coffin hotel would be. But you can't imagine each room being larger than like a small closet, really.
I can't say I'm familiar with the term coffin hotel. I can work out what it means, but
like shoebox hotel.
Yeah. I can't say I've heard it called that before. That's pretty good. It's pretty.
That's
good.
That's a term I learned from Shadowrun, actually. But yeah, that's a real thing. Japan generally has a lot of them. They're called capsule hotels in Japan.
Yeah. Bless you. Yeah, I've seen capsule hotels.
But I've always
never heard
known them as
before.
coffin hotels.
That's
yeah.
Good. It's morbid and I like it.
It is. Yeah, it is. Okay, so what would you like to do?
Well, is there a receptionist person at this hotel?
So the main windows are open, and I would say, well, not open, but there are windows, is what I mean. And I would say that yes, you can see inside the lobby. The lobby itself looks relatively tight and only takes up about maybe half of the frontage of the building. And there is what appears to be like a booth or a closed off section with a window for a receptionist. You see a person in there, yeah.
Because we're going to need to know what room they were in. Let's try to break in if we don't know what room that they were in. And
you go straight in with the charmer. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
I can either try that, or I was thinking something else. A reader.
Well, I was just wondering, if I rent a room for a meeting for us for an hour, I could get Ashes to kind of fly up and down the staircase and see if there's any traces of blight that's been here, because I mean there may not have been any, but
if we get the room for the minimum for the hour, at least we're inside. You'd have to get a room for. You'd have to just get a room for yourself, because I'm assuming that these or 2 people minimum.
Oh, it's for a meeting. We can get it for a meeting, and if I
don't sit on the bed.
What?
No, does the hotel have a restaurant? I mean,
no, there's no restaurant. No restaurant, no bar.
So it is just rooms.
Don't switch on a black light or anything.
What I was going to ask is Gareda's history with the Zapti. Is that from any past law enforcement affiliation? I know it's not law enforcement, sort of like. Is Gareda not? She's not a serving Zapti, is she?
No. It's no, and it's unlikely that Gareda would have been a Zapti at any point, considering she's from the far colonies. She's just. It's up to her how, but she just happens to know a couple and happens to be good friends with one. Yeah.
Because I'm wondering, hear me out, and this if it's crazy, then just shoot it down. But
I love it already.
Gareda could call her contact, who could contact the hotel to say, I'm sending down a colleague to ask a question about an investigation about such and such a person. Give it a few minutes. Mind you, no, because they use the...
it's going to be more than a few minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they use the letter...
You can set something up, though, like that if you want to.
That's what I'm thinking. And then we could come back later and then say, we're here to investigate. We've been sent by...
Well,
I like it, David. It's definitely.
Would that Zorab lieutenant whatever?
He doesn't need to know.
Monitor it. Well, would she be notified there'd been a message to the Zapti?
Here's the deal.
To your contact earlier, there was no trace of Zorab being involved there.
No,
unless it's still to come. And then if she's
assuming Gareda sends a private message to Lay at whatever ticker station Lay usually picks up messages from, then no, there wouldn't necessarily be a reason for Zorab to suspect. So basically the way this would have to work if you want to do it this way, and I mean it's doable, but what you're basically asking is send a ticker to Lay, who would then have to send a ticker to a local office and also pay a runner to run the message over to the Rose. Because if you just there would be no reason to send it to you don't want to risk Lay sending it through the Zapti offices anyway. So I mean, it could be done. It might. I'll say this: if you want to do it, it's going to take time, and it will probably give you a bonus in interacting with the receptionist. It will give you a bonus in interacting with the receptionist. So,
number one, it's intrigue or mystery. It's that thing that gets us XP.
It also is intrigue, yeah.
And number two, it's
forgot all about that, to be honest. Yeah,
it's too good to be true. It's like comic book. It's hella fun. It's like we're gonna do this and we're gonna pretend to be the cops. I love
and it might go wrong.
Oh, I could absolutely go wrong. That's why I love it, Dave.
Sure,
I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
no one's talking
option.
now. This is not Ozil.
This is going to take time, though, so
Ozil's
you'll
probably thinking it's a bad idea, but Oliver loves it, for the record.
So you're going to have to go back to the ticker office that you guys tend to use, which would be closer to your shuttle, which is fine. I mean, that's not going to really take any time. You're already in the bay.
We're in the bay.
This is gonna be pushed to next shift, right? This will be evening shift. Is there anything else you guys want to do during this shift that you could conceivably pull off while you're sending these messages?
In a place like Aluminum Bay, do we have enough time to find somebody to teach us skills if we want to do some skill learning, or if we've got enough enough left
I'll
in the
let
shift? We do.
If anybody has experience, I'll let you use the rest of this shift to find somebody in Aluminum Bay potentially to teach you a skill.
I've got loads of
or
XP.
talent.
Let me just get a quick look through the journal.
That's if Garita wants to tap Lay again on this level. Brian, what do you say?
You know what? I'll give it a shot. If he says no, he says no.
Okay.
Well, I could rent a room for an hour to go and have a tabac session, I suppose, and then.
Actually, yeah, that's not a bad idea. If
While
you can have a scope out inside and see what's going on.
Exactly, and get Ashes to do a quick scan and see if there's any traces of blight having been about, or possibly even pick up another of those little spidery thingies.
Yeah, I want to get. But it's not a new skill, so does that mean I can teach it myself? I don't have to find a.
No,
tutor.
no. If it's not new, you still have to find a teacher. Well, you still have to spend time doing it. Yeah, technically. So that's still going to be the rest of Ozil's shift if that's what you want to do.
But that means I don't have to find a teacher, doesn't it?
No. Yeah, you can just go back to the shuttle and study or practice or whatever.
Okay, and I can't just straight up take 2 levels or something. I have to do one at a time, right?
Yes. Yeah, you can't straight up take 2. What are you doing?
I just investigator.
Wow.
I've got
you
one
want to
level
push
in
that
it.
to rank 3?
I was going to take 2 and then later on take 3, yeah, but I would push it straight to 3 if I can. I doubt you can though.
No, I'd still require you to spend another shift to have it go up to 3, but you have, what is that, 10 points to do that with?
No,
you got 10 experience?
Is it not just 5 per level in this?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's 5 to go up a level, and then 5 to go up a level.
Cost me 10. I've got 17.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't realize. So here's the thing. I just want to caution you. Investigator is great. There are, once you guys start getting into, delves and more combat and stuff like that, you're not going to want to be so focused on the Brainiac stuff, which is good, don't get me wrong. You guys have been doing a lot of investigation, but if you funnel yourself 100% into that investigatory role, you might suffer in later situations.
No, I know there's lots of good ones. I don't want to funnel myself completely into it. I just think it's a really good one that I want to have on a high level.
It is, yeah. Okay.
There's lots of other things.
So yeah, I'll let you.
On. That's only 10 of 17. Remember, I've still got another.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Something somewhere as well before we.
Right.
Session.
So yes, you can use the rest of this shift to practice your investigatory stuff, back on the ship. Maybe you have a journal or a book you've been reading that is helping you understand it better, so you can spend your 5 to do that.
How long do I have time to do the spending time with my item, my trinket? As well.
If you want to use that this session already, you can do that as well. Yeah, I'll let you do both to get a hope back.
Because that'll give me 1 hope back, yeah.
Yep. So what's that look like?
I've got 5 now. And if I spend 5 experience for 1 level, I've got 12 left.
What does working with your keepsake look like, though?
So that is it's taking a journal. I've got a log of the development of a little one of those terrarium. I can't remember if terrarium is the right term, but when it's closed and it's like a self-contained little ecosystem, it's one of those in a glass bottle that I keep on a necklace. It's just this little tiny little potion bottle kind of thing. Sealed. It's been sealed for a long time, and I'm documenting it every day. So I'm just sitting watching the tiny little insects and like tiny little life forms and plants and fungi, and I'm just making notes on what's growing and what's not and what's eating. And
you should have had some dinner with Edris tonight, or you'd be able to see them an awful lot better.
That's right.
I'm not totally against the trying of the mushrooms, to be honest, David. Sounds like a lot of fun.
So you're doing that. And let me just run down the list. Is Rico going to do anything for the rest of this shift?
I'm thinking I'm training the talent. I'm just trying to figure out which one I'm going to be useful for me. I'll
let you figure that out. Is David going to go ahead with actually getting a room and getting inside? Or sorry, Ozri. You are David.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to do you last then, so hang out for a second.
What I'm also thinking is this is interaction with ashes.
It is.
So can I boost my bird handler up to 3?
Sure. I think once after the interaction with the receptionist, once you're in the room as a part of like checking out the room and then whatever you're doing in the rest of the hotel, I think that'll count as working with ashes and building that companionship. Sure. That'll take you up to 3, bird handler 3. That's massive. Nice. That's going to be huge when you have to start working with
it is 5 to get from 2 to 3, is it? Or is it 15?
Yeah, no, it's just 5.
Just 5.
Every level is 5. Yeah.
Levels 5 in this
that's I mean, but Mashers is the best mate I've ever had.
Right.
Well, question goes to you as well, David, because you obviously know how to do it. How do I change the level of an existing one on my sheet?
Right click on it.
Talent that is, or right click on it. Simple as that, Oliver. You could have worked that out. So, do I just where do I change the level? Let's configure. There we go. Current level 2.
Got it.
Got it. Thank you.
So we'll come back to Ozri. Garita is sending the message. Is Garita going to do anything else during this shift?
Well, I want to pick up the Coriolis combat talent, so I'll be looking for basically a fight club.
Oh, nice.
Okay. I think between Aluminum Bay and the Haze, it probably shouldn't be too hard to find. There aren't any fights going on right now, but you essentially find like a gym / venue where some, nobody's talking about it, right? But something's up.
Don't talk about Fight Club. That's rule number 1.
What are you talking about? Stop talking about it. So
yeah, don't hit yourself. Why are you hitting yourself? I don't know.
So Garita, you during this shift you're going to be contacting Lay, but then what else were you going to do?
Going to go and learn the Coriolis skill.
Okay, so we're going to find a fight club.
Yep.
But we're not going to talk about it.
Oh no.
And
I have no clue what you're talking about.
And you're gonna find some people there to do a bit of training with to add. Is that adding Pugilist 1?
Yeah, Pugilist 1.
Okay. What does that do again? That's nice, right? Like that.
Yeah, that gives bonus dice to unarmed combat.
Okay. So you'll be doing that after you send your message to Lay, and then Edris.
How long will it take me to get to the Explorers Guild? I'm just thinking to go and speak to Master Muska, but if it takes too long, then
no. I mean, if you want to take the time to go to the Explorers Guild and speak to Muska during the rest of the shift, you can do that.
Is that all right with everybody else if I do that and just
update? Right, go ahead.
I'm busy anyway.
Okay.
So go ahead, mate.
So I'll give you a little bit more time to think about what you want to talk to Muska about. You might already know, but we're going to go back to Ozri first. So Ozri, since we're here at the Saladian Rose, you're free to go in and rent a room if you like.
Right, I shall amble in,
Okay.
lean on the counter.
So you notice as you go in that the place looks kind of, even from the inside, more so from the inside, looks kind of derelict, decrepit. Fluorescent light strips are blinking from time to time. There's a patina of, you don't know if it's dirt.
No.
Rust.
I won't look into it too close.
Okay. But it's not that the place is dirty. It's just
run down.
Yeah. So yeah, there is an obvious kind of short hallway on your left that leads to what appears to be, you would assume, on one side a stairway and on the other side an elevator, but there does not appear to be a longer hall for actual rooms on this level that you can see. It's just short hallway to stairs and or elevator. But, pardon me, there is, like I said, a bit of a kiosk. Now that you're inside, you can see behind it's a man, so behind the gentleman in the kiosk, you can see another door that seems to lead back into the building. His little kiosk has a door as well that's in the same hall that what looks to be both a stairwell and an elevator are connected to. There are a few seats in the lobby, but again, it's relatively small. It only takes up about half of the frontage of the building itself, and the building itself the frontage is not that wide. If you had to guess, you would say that probably the frontage of the building is maybe 10 meters. So it's a roughly 5-meter wide kind of reception area. And so yeah, behind the front desk is a short, balding man. As soon as you walk in, he's like, "How can I help you?"
I need a session with my room for an hour.
He brings up a logbook. He doesn't have a terminal or anything like that. And you see him flip the page and put his finger on and kind of roll his finger down. He's like, "Yeah, I got one on the second. Give it to you for an hour for 300.
Jesus, wept. I'm not buying the hotel. 50.
300's the hourly rate.
What's the daily rate?
Daily rate is 1,500.
Jeez. You don't like people staying here, do you?
Well, I tell you, I like the money they pay to stay here.
Yeah, well, what makes it worth so much? I've stayed elsewhere and it's never been that much. For a day, never mind an hour.
Isn't our wage?
You're paying for
what are you
Isn't
offering?
our wage 1,000 a month? Isn't that 1.5 times our wage for the month?
Oh,
it is.
Yeah.
You're paying for three things. You're paying for convenience, you're paying for privacy, and you're paying for discretion.
Jesus. Well, can I sit and smoke in the lobby here then?
Why? It's
I
not
don't
like
want to
it's
do it on
raining
the
outside.
street.
Two of those three things were the same thing, my friend.
No, as far as I can tell, this place is a front for the Black Toad, because he's got the ground floor, which is just this short section is occupied by the lobby. The rest of it isn't turned over to rooms. If this was a cheap hotel, the rest of the ground floor would be hotel rooms. So there's some sort of operation going on behind that kiosk. So and he's obviously doesn't want people staying here who aren't on his list. So there is something definitely going on here.
As you are talking to him, you hear a very telltale ding of an elevator, and you can hear, because it's, the hall's short to the elevator and the stairs, you can hear the doors kind of creak open, and you see a young woman and an older man exit the elevator. And, well, you don't see them exit because you're speaking to him, but they pass by you on the way out, and they look like just, people. And the young woman is maybe dressed provocatively, we'll say.
Well, yeah, her mum didn't. She didn't let her mum see that when she left the house.
No.
Yeah, well, I shall continue arguing with him for some time about how it's far too excessive a rate, etc., and try and persuade him to drop his price to something reasonable. And get nowhere.
You can tell you what. You can give me a. What are you persuading him with? How are you going to try? I mean, you don't have to give me word for word, but what are you trying to?
I don't need that much discretion, because I'm only going to go and kind of smoke a pack of, my special blend. I will just try and do a not very good filibuster to try and get him to drop it. I'm expecting to lose, but
okay. Go ahead and give me an empathy roll.
Yeah, well, I expect to lose.
Sure.
What with my empathy of 2?
Hey!
There you go.
He
did it.
He says, "Look, you're not looking that great. It seems like you need a place to cool your heels for a bit. I don't know if somebody's chasing you or what's going on. I can give you a room for 50 ruck for an hour, but you got to be out."
Yeah. You're a gentleman. Yeah, I shouldn't have had that extra portion of the mushrooms.
At that, he's just like, "I don't want to know." And he slaps a key card on the book and slides it through a little kind of cutout in the it's not glass, but it's probably some kind of ceroplastic, something like that, and he slides that across to you.
I will slide the 50 ruck under the under the partition to him, and take the key card and stagger towards the stairs.
Okay. So while you do that, we're going to cut over to Edris. Edris travels up to the Explorers Guild. It's technically it's evening now. Well, no, you're technically still in the afternoon, so not super busy. There's probably a few people there, not necessarily explorers as in on cruise, but just employees of the guild that are working the guild house. You can smell kind of a very, very heady, spicy something coming from the cafeteria. Smells like it'd probably be a pretty good lunch, depending. Although to you right now, in the condition you're in, you can see it as well. So there's just colors wafting and waving through the air as you head into the Explorers Guild.
I'm just wondering if she's going to have a go at me now because she can see that I'm like high as a cat.
We'll see. We'll see. So you head up to the 3rd floor, which is where her office is, right off of the stairwell, because your guild hall doesn't have an elevator. It's a bit of an older building, but it's like a lot of the construction in Ship City, it is grand. It's just not as grand as, say, Astrolab Tower is. But her doors are open to her office, and in fact, when you crest the top of the stairs, which is why she has her office where it is, she sees you and she's like, "Oh, Edris, welcome. Here for anything in particular?" Or?
Just to update you, really. Just to give a friendly, because we start waffling now because I'm high. Just a friendly.
Give me
update you on the updates that we've got for updating you.
Give me an empathy test.
Got empathy. Yeah, I got one. I'll take that.
Okay, that's not enough to hide it from her. So her eyebrow does kind of quirk a little bit. But she's not. She's like, okay, so you're here to update me. I take it. What updates have you?
There is. I can't remember what we talked about last time. Where did we go last time? Did we tell you about the Golden Ape? No.
No.
And I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing.
Oh, this is what you're actually saying to her. Okay.
Yeah,
this is how. This is Edris. This isn't you.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. She's like, no, I haven't heard anything about the Golden Ape.
The mask. Golden mask. Everything's
No.
gold. How mad is that?
Edris, why don't you take a seat?
Where am I taking it?
Okay.
Take it where?
Are you
really
all
warm.
right?
It's
Have you
really
taken?
warm in
Have
here.
you taken
Really warm in
something?
here.
Come on, give my meal a plug. Go on.
I had
Really nice fish.
Ozric's mushroom thing that he made. Yeah, it was really nice. It was really nice. But,
So she
use it.
pours you a cup of tea
Oh, thank you.
and puts something in it.
An emetic?
Do I see it? Do I see you do this, or do I not see this?
Make a perception check.
Oh yes.
Oh, I still got my bonus because I'm high as a cat. Still.
You do.
Oh yes.
You see in 3D. Oh, maybe
Oh, dear.
not.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm
but
not gonna let you I'm not gonna let you push it. So just accept it.
She is obviously used to dealing with her explorers.
Yeah. Okay.
So you see her as she comes towards you. She's, stirring something in the tea. You figure it's probably just sugar or something, whatever. And she hands it to you. She says, "Here, drink this, son."
Thank you. I will drink it, and thank you very much. Thank you.
And at the same time as you drink that, her bird, a rock, lands on your shoulder and kind of puts its wing over your head.
Ooh.
And you feel a warmth suffuse through your body. And your perception is still enhanced,
Like this.
but you're no longer dazed.
Oh, I like this a lot.
aha.
As a rock hops off your shoulder and back onto its perch near her desk, and she says, "Has somebody poisoned you?"
No, it was one of Ozric's magical mushroom meals that concocted.
Oh, I like it. A magical mushroom meal. Yeah, I'm putting that in the crew journal.
The alliteration is fantastic. I love it.
I don't
She's
know
like,
if it used
Nice.
the mushrooms, but it was nice. It was nice.
"Well, you."
Opened my mind.
Certainly, there's nothing wrong with expanding your mind, but you might want to be careful depending upon the situation that you're entering. I would hope you wouldn't partake in something like that before you do anything dangerous.
I will have words with Ozric about this.
So he ate shrooms. Nice.
But anyway, this was just an update visit. We want to tell you what we've got so far. It's not much. We went to a place called the Golden Ape because we found a clue that led us there. We spoke to
Maisie's place.
Maisie, yes. I had a nice chat with Maisie. She gave us some really good information, and we could be dealing with Zapti or Zorab, who is potentially working for the Gardeners Guild.
Oh.
That's obviously you know the Gardeners Guild, but I was wondering if you've heard of the name Zorab or.
Well, I think Zorab was the name of the Zapti that was in charge of the investigation to Levan's suicide.
Well, she knows that she's spoken to us as well. She's
interesting that you bring up the Gardeners Guild. And that actually reminds me, Ozil did put out a message to your contact in the Gardeners Guild. What was that message about? Do you recall?
I wanted some comprehensive information about the dangers of magic mushrooms.
Oh, I see. So it wasn't related to the investigation. It was just
for my safety.
Dangers of magic mushrooms. Yeah. Okay.
Also, not just the dangers, but the benefits. But I wanted a full scientific rundown, whatever the best information they've got at the Gardeners Guild. I wanted that in a document.
Okay, so we'll come back to that in a second. So yeah, as you're speaking to...
Because I want to get high too. But I'm scared.
Right. Muska. She says, I don't know what... I mean, I'm not discounting what you're saying. I can't possibly imagine what the Gardeners Guild would have to do with this. She rounds her desk again and shuffles through some notes and pulls out a couple of journals. She says, my intel is not where it could be. The last guild difficulty I can recall with the Gardeners Guild there's some conflict between the gardeners and the they're called the Grey Wardens, right?
Can I step outside the game a minute? The info I'm using our notes for this that we've written there. I'm not overstepping. The reader told us this, yes?
Yeah.
Yep. I thought it was like
saying. Yeah, I thought so.
Sorry.
While we're above people for a second, where do the Gardeners Guild come in again? Because I'm concerned, because that's my ex.
Okay, so Lay told Garita that he had heard that Zarab was working a job for the Gardeners, right? The Gardeners, of course, really can't mean anything other than the Gardeners Guild on Ship City.
That's where I said Gardeners Guild, but yeah, okay, I've put 2 and 2 together.
But I think 2 and 2 does make 4 in this case, like.
Right.
We're a big number.
Yeah, and I'm not going to dissuade you from that thought because that is pretty much exactly the thing. So, Muska says the only conflict she's aware of that the Gardeners Guild might be involved with is they have a long-standing feud or disagreement with the Wardens of the Well. The gray-clad, silver-clad Coriolites who currently control the Well of Souls in the City of the Dead. They think they should be in charge of essentially the dead of Ship City. Because, that's a lot of, let's just say, compost.
Fertilizer.
Going to waste.
Yeah. I'm not there, sorry, ignite me.
You're not wrong, though. And that would be something that Muska would say, is she's, they think they should be in charge of the dead because they think the dead should work to aid the city as opposed to being cremated and or interred as they are in Ship City. And she says, and personally, I don't know that they're wrong, but also on the same level, I don't know that I would want my body just to be used as fertilizer in the event that I pass. It's a difficult situation.
It is, and if they've marked as active for doing something under the table, let's say, then it could be dangerous. But the other thing we found out, not that we found it out, is a suspected assassin wears a golden mask, so we're almost 100% sure that he's a Coriolite. I can't remember if we mentioned that last time or not.
So that is something that Ozric has not been clear about.
I've told
Ozric,
them.
That's why it's suspected.
I've told them that he is thought to be a Coriolite. I haven't told them that he works only for Coriolites.
Yeah, right.
That's what I said, because he says that in notes. It does say that. Suspected, but we can't be 100% sure.
Ozric is only reluctant to say that because he's a Coriolite.
Which is fair.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
Unless we get evidence. But I did see the golden mask because we recovered one of these spiders, and we saw the last image.
From your position as a non-Coriolite, it certainly looked like a Coriolite mask to you, right? So there's an artistry to them that is not generally seen elsewhere. But
and you've got the name as well. That's not a problem.
Davodon, yeah.
Davodon, yeah.
Davodon.
Okay. So she says, well, I can't imagine how Najjar got in between the Wardens, an assassin, and the Gardeners Guild with a stone tablet.
We are.
But that seems to be the case.
Looking at different avenues regarding the tablet, and we found out recently that Najjar spent a bit of time with Gar Boutaleb at the Sedalian Rose Hotel.
Ah, yes, I'm familiar with Gar.
So we are checking out. We're going to try and see if we can get into the hotel room to see if they've left anything behind. And
do you think he might have the tablet?
Well, we haven't found him. He would be the next person that we would like to either talk to or find out what he knows, because if he's the last person with Najjar before his death, then he could either be suspect responsible for his death, or he's gone into hiding because of what they both knew, and potentially that's why Najjar, unless he did commit suicide, of course, which I don't think any of us believe for a second.
She tells you right out, I can't imagine Gar having a hand in Levant's death. They were friends.
I believe that to be the case, but he might be in hiding now because he fears for his own life.
That I believe.
So if we could get to him first before whoever the assassin is, then that'd be good for us. You don't know anyone that he might turn to, or
Gar? I knew Gar.
One thing I would say, Mr. Musker, before, just to let you know, when we was at the Golden Ape, we spoke to Maisie, we noticed that it is heavily populated. A lot of the patrons part of the Black Toad, or into that being in the Black Toad.
Oh yeah. Maisie was a Black Toad smuggler for a good many years. I've worked with her.
Well, this is
just as Levant worked with Gar.
Just getting to the question of, would you think Gar would turn to them for help if he was in trouble?
Well, it's possible. That's not the kind of help one goes to the Black Toad for, though.
No. Okay.
I've only met Gar a few times at, meals with Levant.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that Gar is certainly one to cut and run and hide if he felt he's in danger. Okay. He's not the stand-up sort. Not a bad person, necessarily. And certainly has his talents. And somehow forged a strong connection with his bird. But not a bad person.
Okay.
In my estimation.
Well, I think that's what we need to do is find out where he's gone or where he is, and then we can get a bit closer to working this thing out.
Okay. Well, do me a favor. If you know you're going to get into anything serious, try to
I'll mention that.
Avoid Ozric's mushrooms.
I'll see if he could tweak it a little bit.
At least until he refines his formula, so it's not quite so debilitating.
But if you ever have a quiet day where you're not doing much, I highly recommend maybe trying it out.
She says, I have my own vices, but thank you.
I think it was the mushrooms.
Yeah, so I'll.
Or the onions.
Do we shake hands in this society? And shake hands?
No, she gives you a big old hug. No, I mean, she'll shake your hand, I guess, if you offer it.
Yeah, I'll shake her hand and say, we'll be in touch. We'll keep you updated.
Good.
I walk out fresh as a daisy now because I've drank the tea.
Well, before you leave, she says, I will also say, up to this point, I haven't felt quite the same amount of urgency, but what you've been telling me, and now that you've revealed that there might be an assassin involved, I think you need to find this tablet quickly, and we need to put this to bed. If you can do so within the next couple of days, there will be a bonus.
We will try our utmost, 100%.
Okay, so you head back down to Aluminum Bay. So Osric, obviously you're not going to be there the whole shift because you only have an hour.
Oh, no.
What are you trying to do in an hour? Are you going to send Ashes through to look for Blight?
I'm going to ask Ashes to look for Blight, but also any sense of another Garuda bird. Is it Garuda bird?
Garuda or bird,
yes,
yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I shall stumble over to the staircase, and there may be something on the ground floor, and then I shall...
So, before you... since you're indicating that, I take that to mean that you are kind of looking at things.
I am
trying to be perceptive.
Yes,
Give me a perception check before you head up the staircase, assumingly towards your room.
Certainly. Well, no, my room is on the second floor. This place is
I know.
3 stories, isn't it? And is that the second floor US or second floor UK? Because the second floor UK is the third floor US.
I can never even remember which.
Second floor US, so you're currently on the first floor.
Exactly. So I shall get it wrong and stumble up to the third floor as well and look on each of the floors before realizing he's given me a key to the second floor.
Give me, while you're still on the first floor though, the same floor as the lobby, give me a perception check.
Okay. Well, there's nothing that I have would be applicable to this, apart from the fact that I got +1 base dice.
Okay, so it's very apparent to you before you head up the stairs that where the wall ends, because as I said, it's a short hallway, stairs on one side, elevator on the other, and kind of dead end essentially. It looks nice, it's well put together, but it's very apparently a false wall. You can tell that it's not a concealed door or anything. That's not what I'm trying to imply. It is a structure that is put into place, but it is clearly a false wall that has been added after the fact. So this hallway initially continued down, as you probably would have suspected, to other rooms on the first floor.
Yes. That may well be a hideout for people who don't want their presence to be known, or it might be other illicit activities. Who knows? But there is no obvious access except through the kiosk. So I will just note that in passing. Okay. And then I shall, and if Ashes can have a check for remains of blight or existing blight or
Sure. Do you want Ashes?
The scent of another bird?
Do you want Ashes to check the second, third, and fourth floor?
Yes.
Okay, because I think we decided.
Is it 3 stories or 4 stories?
It's 4 stories total, right? So first floor, second floor, third floor, fifth. Sorry, first,
fourth.
Second, third, fourth.
Okay, fine. So I will stumble up the staircase to the 4th and then come back down to the 2nd and go to my room. And I will get Ashes to check each story. And give
me a bird handler roll.
Okay. Automations. Bird handler. So, this is off logic or perception?
Insight, it should be.
It's insight, right, fine. And I've got no other... this first time I will give her a piece of Ashes a piece of bird candy.
This is for the whole thing. So yeah, give her a piece of bird candy for sure.
Let me knock off a piece of bird candy.
That's an extra dice on the roll when you do, Dave, eh?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, so he's rolling insight plus you've got what, 3 bird handler now?
Also, Dave.
And you're the bird companion, so plus 5.
3 after the
after this shift, right?
I don't think it was the tea that cleared your head earlier, Dave. I think it was the bird. I think it did like a remove poison thing on you when it wrapped its wing around you.
It's all nice. It was all nice.
Also, you're pregnant now.
You're pregnant now. What? Well, it is sci-fi.
+1 base.
You're pregnant with a bird.
Fair enough. Here we go. Let's see what happens. It's on insight. And bird handler 2. Public.
You don't get to add a bonus base die for this because this is controlling the bird. This isn't perception.
Agreed. But I do get to add the base dice for the bird candy.
Oh, the bird candy. You're right. Okay, 2. So
a lot of dice. Anyway.
You do that at each floor, starting at the 4th. So you send Ashes down and back, and then go down to the 3rd, Ashes down and back, and so forth. And then I assume go to your room on the 2nd floor?
Correct.
Do you currently have the Garuda device on you that allows you to communicate with Ashes?
It is on my person. It only weighs 1. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So,
and I'm also using my perception on each floor as well. Do I need a separate roll for that?
Are you going to stumble down the long hallway on each floor?
Well, I'm checking the room numbers, aren't I?
Okay.
Actually, no, I'd better not, because there's probably surveillance from the guy downstairs. So I will check the key, and Ashes will kind of do his stuff. And no, it's not this floor. It's not. Oh, it is that floor, and then go back down. Okay. So I won't go beyond the.
So
end
you're
of the
not walking the halls. I gotcha.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I don't want to.
But Ashes, Ashes is a bird. Who controls what Ashes does?
Yeah.
All right. So I think that's a good enough ruse with you looking at your key, and he saw the state you were in. So I think that's fine. So yeah, you'll head back down to your room, pull out the Garuda device, and what were you having Ashes check for again, specifically?
Checking for blight.
Oh, signs of blight.
The traces of blight that it picked up from the spider. Okay. In other words, because that you said it wasn't blight, but it was a feeling of blight had been around.
Sure.
Yep. No, that was off the web, wasn't it? So it's blight or blight origin, plus any birds, signs of birds.
So, obviously, it's not a long conversation, but using the Garuda device, you're able to get from Ashes that Ashes was not able to detect any blight in the building, or at least on those. Well, probably, I think Ashes would say in the building, because I think Ashes would even get a sense of blight below, so from the first floor, while he was scanning the second. I think his range is decent enough for that. So no blight in the building. There are, however, 16 birds, 7 of which are on the roof.
16 birds! Gordon Bennett! There's a fortune here. How many are down on the first floor?
Good question. 5.
5 in the concealed area.
Yep.
Right.
That would lead you to believe, based on what you've been saying, that would lead, I think, Ozri to believe that is probably a Black Toad hangout or safe house.
Yes.
Because the Black Toad do use birds.
Yes.
You would guess the 7 on the roof are probably wild birds, which do exist in Ship City. No one has ever seen them breed, and anytime people try to capture them, it's very difficult. But there are essentially free birds in Ship City, and Aluminum Bay has a large population of them.
And am I right in thinking, sorry, somebody who's not at the scene,
Okay,
and a question, am I right in thinking that the birds, although no one's seen them breeding, the number doesn't deplete, the number seems to either stay the same or grow?
No one's ever gotten a clear population number on Ship City.
So it's not apparent. It's not obviously apparent that.
It's not obviously apparent that there's a depletion. No.
Yeah. Or that it's growing in that.
Or
case.
growth. Yeah.
Okay. In that case, I will ask a follow-on question.
Okay.
Could it tell whether any of those birds were from the Syrah batch that matched the feather we found?
That is a good question. Unfortunately, that is not something that Ashes would be able to tell.
Right. Well, I will
not without. Ashes says
pet...
not without seeing it, which obviously makes sense.
Yes. So there's 14 birds, 7 on the roof, 5
16.
on the first. Sorry, 16 birds, 7 on the roof, 5 on the first floor.
And the rest are scattered between 2nd and 4th floor.
Okay.
In rooms, right? Not just like chilling out in the hallway.
There's no blight or blight association. So
correct.
No spiders or web. Okay, I will pet Ashes and thank it, and I shall then have my tabac moment and kind of chain smoke a pack of tabac.
Oh, you're gonna go for the full pack, so you're going for
I'm
a
going for the
game?
full pack. Yep.
Okay, that's fair.
And leave before the hour is fully complete.
Good. Okay, because otherwise he would have come to oust you.
Yes.
Possibly with additional people that you imagine are probably chilling out on the first floor. I think that probably is a decent place to take a break.
Absolutely, mate.
And then when we come back, we'll advance to. Did I miss anybody? Did I cover everything?
Don't think so.
I mean, the only thing I did is I know.
Oh yeah, what skill were you going to learn for Rico?
Yeah, I was doing tracker.
Tracker. Yeah, you know, I think it would be. This is one you don't have, right?
Mm-mm.
So I would think you would probably spend the shift again. I think Aluminum Bay is a good place for this. You probably spend the shift talking to some of the newcomers, some people who are clearly from off station, maybe some settlers or people that are trying to put down roots on some of the far colonies. And so we'll say that you find someone who looks to be kind of an outdoorsy tracker type person, offer to buy him a drink at a nearby cantina, and they kind of give you some pointers. So yeah, you're able to pick up tracker at rank 1.
Nice.
And then Oliver, were you saying something else?
No, I think it was just Max. What does tracker give?
It basically gives you a +1 when I'm like tracking animals and helps in delves.
Or tracking animals, so not people.
It's basically, it says helps to find tracks through the wilderness into delve. So it's just anybody's tracks,
So people
animals or
Yeah,
people.
any kind of tracks. Yeah.
Cool, nice.
Okay, so yeah, I think we'll take a short break there, and we'll be back in a few.
Great. See you in a few.
Thank you for that.
And we're back. Hello.
Perfect timing with the music change too. All right, so it is now the evening of Eridani the 14th. 3 days into our investigation, Brian, you receive a message back saying that Lee has sent a runner to the Saladian Rose to indicate that you specifically are looking into something for the Zapti, and that you may have companions along with you. That having been said, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna do anything, because again, it's difficult to say. So we'll see what happens. What are we doing, guys?
Well, I've stumbled back to the shuttle. No sign of the Zapti about at the moment? No?
No.
Good. No, good. I shall bring everybody up to date with what I found, that I think the ground floor of the hotel is probably a front for the Black Toad or something like that. They've got something going on behind that false wall. There's certainly five birds down there that Ashes has found. There were another 7 on the roof and 4 scattered through the rest of the rooms in the hotel, but there were 3 floors, and there were about 12 rooms on a floor, was it? Something like that? So that's
Actually, it's closer to 20 rooms on a floor.
So it's about 60 rooms, so, well, 5 of those rooms have probably got birds in. Anyway, but yeah, no signs of blight or remains of blight. So there's no signs of any of those spiders or any webs, which is good. And I need a good nurse.
Actually, okay, so you did that when you returned. I did want to add in, Oliver, when you returned to your raptor, you do find, we'll say, I mean, you don't have a front stoop per se, but you do have like a gangway, a gangplank essentially to board your ship. There is a package waiting for you, specifically with Oziel's name on it, wrapped in butcher paper, on the entrance to the ship, close to the entrance.
Awesome. I will pick it up, and as I'm walking in the house, I'm rapidly spinning it in my fingers, like you could with a Rubik's Cube or something. It's like, and you just spin it. Like, I'm totally being not careful with it at all. Although my spinning of it is very expert and very precision. You'd be amazed.
So, when you open it, there's a couple of things inside. One is a letter, and the other one is in a spidery hand that you're familiar with. And the other one is which I might produce this later, a letter at a later date. I might do that later to at least so you have it in there.
Nice.
I'll give you the general idea now. Letter from, what's your contact's name again?
Ooh, 2 seconds. What's it in bio?
Yeah, it should be.
Second botanist, Zare Uhat. Z-A-H-R-E-U-H-A-T. Zare? Zahar? I don't know.
Yeah, Zare, I think is fine.
Begins with it. Zare.
So first of all, it says that she was pleased to hear from you, and is happy to send along, and this is the second item in the package, a book about various mushrooms and things like that. What's really funny is you've seen the book before. It's the exact same book that Ozri has.
Excellent.
Damn.
That is superb. No,
Stamp of authenticity.
I love that. I love that because Ozrik's been teaching me the librarian talent. So reading the exact same book as him is just perfect. So I'm taking learning from him to an extreme. I'm copying him, getting the exact same book.
If you ever compare them, though, you will find very quickly that his is a first edition, and yours is like a 7th or 8th edition, something like that. Yours looks newer for sure, but it's not the original.
All right, you had to shame the quality of my book. He's got the collector's item. I've got a cheap fucking bullshit nowadays one. Okay.
He's a Coriolite. Is
that just because he was showing off
what did you
he's
think?
got in his real collection before?
That's funny. So anyway, there's the book, but the letter goes on to discuss something that you weren't expecting. Zer says something about how she has heard mention of your crew recently, and she's concerned for your well-being. She wants to make sure that you're not in any trouble. She saw one of her, someone in the guild. I won't say specifically because she won't name them in a letter like this, a letter that can be tracked potentially. But she saw someone in the guild having a discussion with what looked to be a Zapti officer of some kind. Okay. And they mentioned the Crimson Raiders. And so she was concerned for you to make sure that you're not in any kind of trouble. I'll write the letter later, but that's basically the gist of it.
Okay, well, he's kind of nervous as he's reading the letter, and he's like pulling at the edges of it in just like a kind of weird fidgety way. And as he finishes, he kind of almost like ticks a little bit, and he goes, "Oops," and he rips it down the top a little bit. He's like, "Oh," and then he stops fidgeting. He folds it up neatly and puts it back in his pocket with the tear.
Okay.
I need to go show Ozrik and Edris and everybody. I need to show them this letter.
So that was at the end of the last, or whenever you returned to the ship during the last shift. That would have been when you found that.
Did she mention wanting to see me and to talk about it, or she just that was it? The full detail was that she was concerned, and this is what somebody was talking to us and mentioned it. Somebody was talking to Zapti and mentioned us by the name of the Crimson Raiders. Right, okay. Thank you.
All right, so that brings us into the evening shift. So, as I said, Garita receives a message from Lee saying that a runner has been sent with essentially the message that you are going to be asking or investigating something and speaking to the proprietor. What do you guys want to do?
I will quickly go over the information saying that I've told to Master Muska. I'll give her an update, and she expressed her concern that we need to, if we can, step up our investigation because she's now got major concerns for. As soon as I mentioned, what's his name? Forgotten his name.
Davudon.
And Gar as well. Gar Boutaleb. She wants us to step up the investigation. If we can wrap this up in a couple of days, her words, not mine, but that's where we're at. And she doesn't think Gar had anything to do with the death of Najjar. She knows him. So we need to find Gar. Is where I think we're at the moment.
Well, we need.
What's she upset about the shards?
What? We didn't talk about the shards. We don't need to talk about the shards because the shards hasn't happened yet. So
she doesn't need to know about that.
Yeah.
Be careful. Be careful. I didn't tell her about your magic mushroom meal though.
I got.
She knew about it. Oh, good.
She does now.
While you're on the
good.
subject, I got
Just
a
hard to
letter
keep
about.
things.
I was talking to my friends at the Gardeners Guild about mushrooms, and I got an extra bit of information in a letter from a contact there, that the Zapti had been sniffing around there at the Gardeners Guild and had mentioned us by name or by the name of the Crimson Raiders, and so they had been asking about us. So the Zapti are sniffing about everywhere in regards to us, so we really need to keep our heads down, as well as getting this wrapped up quickly. We need to keep the heads right down.
I didn't think it was illegal, kind of making mushroom meals. So,
No, not that.
Don't worry about that. It's not
I'm
about
not worried about that.
No, they weren't
That's not the one
sniffing
they were
about.
asking
Oh,
about.
right,
No.
sorry.
The
Oh,
two
right,
are
okay.
two are not connected. The two are not connected. You need a
Well,
good,
are you going to go and?
You do need a good night's sleep. I know what it's like. You'll be like this until you slept.
Given we Master Muska was worried about the assassin. Do you want to go and see if Gar's at the hotel now?
Well,
I mean, you've got that note from your friend, so to help.
are we all right to do that, Garida? Can we head to the hotel? Are we? Is the your Zapti contacts willing to help?
Well, if the hotel have been told that there's somebody coming from the Zapti to check, you better get there before they get rid of whatever they're trying that they shouldn't have. Because if they've got something they shouldn't have, you can probably use that as leverage to find out about Gar. Yes?
Yeah.
That would be all good if I actually told you yet that I.
That's why I was asking. That's why I was asking because.
My apologies. My apologies.
You're one step ahead.
I have jumped in too early. Retcon. I'm just sitting here, kind of dozing.
I do that.
He's rambling. He's talking mushroom magic rambles. Just ignore Ozri for now.
Yeah, there we go. But I do let everybody know that yes, they know we're coming under the guise of the Zapti.
Rita's name is the only name that was given, though. So
yeah, so somehow I became the lead investigator. So you guys are my lackeys.
You're the one that's allowed to carry guns, so it makes sense.
Oh, I don't have that yet.
Oh, you don't, eh?
Oh, actually, you do, because a runner shows up at the beginning of this shift. And so you hear like a ping or whatever notification you have that there's somebody at the door to the shuttle. And it's a runner, pretty common in Ship City because of the way communication works. Sometimes people pay additional to have runners run messages. This one in particular, though, says to whoever opens the door or uses an intercom or something like that, I have a package for Garida from Lee. I don't know why I keep saying Lay.
Yeah, I'll go answer.
Okay. Yeah, and they just hand you a small package.
Yeah, open it up. It's like, aha, this goes in this pocket.
So it's not something as simple as a card. It is essentially like a document, a sheaf of document that says that you are hereby allowed to carry a pistol or smaller weapon on Ship City. And from what you can tell, not being a Zapti yourself, it looks official. It has a Zapti crest on it. It's signed by someone who is not Lee, interestingly enough. And it looks like it's in order, so that should be something that if pressed, you should be able to present that to a Zapti and assumingly, be okay. It won't protect you from necessarily, if you get into a fight and have to shoot somebody, that's going to be a whole different thing, but...
That's a whole different ballgame, but...
Yeah, exactly. And that's a no-weight item. You just have that on you, so...
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you've told us about your stuff from about being officially appointed to investigate, I suggest you go and do it now. Then, so I will wake up, go over the conversation I had earlier, and then go back to sleep again. Okay?
You just stay asleep until.
Oh, I want you to repeat it word for word.
No, leave him alone. Leave him alone. He's going to sleep until tomorrow now.
So I'm assuming that because he was already there, Osric is probably not going back to the hotel with them.
No, that's a very good excuse for you not to go back. I shall have a sleep.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, in that case, if you're going to be sleeping this shift, you can go ahead and roll 1d6 to recover hope.
I was going to as well. I was going to stay.
Very
with
good.
him. I'm going to stay back at the ship with.
Are you going to stay behind as well?
Yeah, I'm staying back at the ship with Osric, and I'm going to also take the chance to rest as well.
Okay. So you can also roll a d6 to recover hope. From the previous shift ending, everybody can regain a point of health and heart if you're down. I don't know why you would be.
Nice.
And then, yeah, the two of you can use this shift if you're going to save the ship to just do your rest now and get a d6 of hope.
I'm going to.
Is Rico going with Garita back to the hotel?
Yeah, give her some
And
backup.
Edris, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay. Are either of you going to carry any
Two
weapons?
back.
I've got
I
on me. So
I got my pickaxe.
Okay. And I didn't hear you, Dave. What did you say?
I've got brass knuckles.
You've got your knuckles? Okay. But neither of you are bringing firearms? It is Aluminum Bay. It's not the Chasm.
I thought it was just the haze that we could carry firearms.
So the Chasm is mostly where the Zapti is most concerned, because that's kind of like the heart.
Okay.
If you get stopped, a Zapti could potentially be bribed to ignore the fact that you have a weapon on you in Aluminum Bay.
I'm gonna withhold because
Okay.
one of the things you said when you said if you use it, that's a completely different ball game. So even if you're authorized to carry them, you're not necessarily authorized to use them unless So
Yeah, I mean,
I'll stick with my.
I don't know if a lot of people realize, but in the States, just because you're able to carry a firearm doesn't mean you can just wander around shooting people. It's kind of against the law.
Knuckle sandwiches for now.
Only if you're not a federal employee.
Right. Don't want to get into that too much, but yeah, you're not wrong.
Oh yeah, no.
Can I recover my days since I've had a sleep?
Oh yeah, since you've slept, absolutely. Dazed goes
Thank you.
away.
We'd wait till I'm muted till you say it's going to get us banned.
Wait, welcome back to the land of the away.
Sorry,
No,
we're
you're
not
right.
saying it.
No.
Brian's getting
So-
off or later.
Yeah. So moving ahead, you guys head back to the Saladian Rose. It's it's not super far from your ship, so it's not really that much of a walk. Even though it is evening, the district is still very busy. You can see, if you glance over out into space, shuttles moving to and from both the Debaran and just other places in Ship City. And smaller ships as well, because it's not like there's only shuttles and great ships. There are also like freight ships and things like that, which are really just slightly larger than shuttles. So you get to the Saladian Rose, you see the entryway. It's pretty much the same as it has been the last time you were here. Looks like the same gentleman is in the kiosk in the front. So what are we doing?
I think we go and approach the gentleman in the front. Reader, you're running this show.
Yes.
If you'd
So
like.
yes, I approached the gentleman at the front. Get his
How can I help you folks?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm here with the doing some investigation work with the Zapti.
Oh, hi. Yeah, that's weird that they're sending somebody who's... Oh, are you guys wearing your Explorer sigils openly?
No.
Nope.
Okay, fair enough. It's weird that somebody who's not Zapti is working for them, but I got the message.
Yeah, we need
what
to.
Can I do for you?
We need to check on. You had guests here. First of all, I need to know if you recognise the names Lavana Jar or Gar Butaleb.
Oh well, I mean we pride discretion here at the Rose. I don't know.
It's an official investigation, though. It's quite urgent.
You just discreetly tell us the names. You don't have to be loud about it.
Okay, make an empathy roll. You can gain a bonus die because of your ruse, we'll say.
Well, can I add to this if you let me just? I've got a actor talent, and I get a base die bonus per level when trying to bluff an NPC.
Yeah, no, that'll work. So you get to add that, and then also since Garita is working with you to have this conversation, and I assume Rico is just standing in the back looking intimidating.
Yeah, that's generally what I do.
You can add an additional die, so a total of, well, if you roll it with the talent, it'll already include the talent. So you get a bonus die from help and a bonus die from I
get 2 bonus
ruse.
die because I've got a level 2 actor.
Okay, so you should have a total of 4, unless you're rolling it from the talent. If you roll it from the talent, it'll include that already. But if you're just rolling from empathy, you'll get 4 bonus dice. I would activate your talent to get those 2.
Yes, it gives me 6 bonus die. And then
No. So you have 2 bonus die plus your talent, so it should be 4 bonus dice total.
Okay, so I've got level 4 empathy, yes. Add talent, which
4 empathy, 2 for it should be giving you 2 for your talent because it's rank 2, right?
Yep.
And then you can add 2 bonus die, so you should be rolling a total of 8 dice.
Ah, there we go. Yes, sorry. Yes.
Okay. And just nothing. Do you want to push that?
I do want to push that, yeah. Wow. I'm not having that after all them dice.
Okay, so you got 2.
Much better.
Lost some hope for it, but you got 2.
Yeah.
That's how the game works. Okay, so he says, look, I ain't got nothing against the Zapti. I understand where you're coming from here. I can tell you what you need to know for 300.
Listen, we all we need to do is get access to the room that they stayed in, have a look around. So 300 seems a lot. It is an official investigation. Can you bring that number down a little bit?
If it were an official investigation, there'd be a Zapti standing in front of me.
It's an under-the-table investigation. It's one that they don't want spread around Ship City, so they try to do.
Give me another check to see if he can bring it down some.
Empathy again.
Yep. No bonus dice this time, though. Just your bluff.
I just get my actor's dice.
Just actor. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, take it. 1 success. Is that enough?
I can come down to 150. You gotta understand, I'm putting my reputation on the line here. I shouldn't be doing this at all.
Go for 100, and it's a deal.
So this is what he does. Like put the 100 on the barrel head. Put the 100 on the counter.
Okay.
So he puts his hand on the logbook in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
With his index finger pointing at a specific line as he pushes it forward and reaches for the 100. And you can Gar Butaleb's name.
Yep. What room?
Next to room 307.
I'll say thank you for your time, sir.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't tell you anything. You can go ahead and walk the halls if you want.
Right, we'll do that. Thank you very much. And I'll signal to the other 2 to follow me.
Yeah.
I'll head up to...
Like I'm walking in, just looking around the area.
He didn't give you a key, by the way.
No, I noticed that, but I've got lockpicks on me.
Okay.
I mean, I gotta fucking.
Yeah, we're not smashing doors down.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not,
smashing doors.
Rico, just I got it.
I'm not there, but just for the notes for the journal, what was that room number again?
307.
307.
Yeah, that's when the plan fails, Rico. That we resort to smashing things.
Okay, so you guys know what room Gar was staying in. How do you want to approach this?
I think we need a lookout. I think someone needs to stay in the hallway and just keep an eye on things, and then. What kind of lock is on the door?
Well, a couple of things. I didn't say this before with Ozric going into the building, but he would have noticed. I think it would have been fairly clear, and I'm sure he probably would have told you, unless you decide not to, David. There were cameras on every floor, and they were.
Yes, I would have told them, because that's why I didn't walk down the corridors.
And they were spaced appropriately to cover the entire floors. Now, moving into the hotel itself, the hallways are pretty simple. Hang on. Quite long, lit on the bottom, kind of a bluish light. The floors themselves are kind of hardwood, and the doors have, pretty standard like mag lock, electronic card locked doors. Which your lockpicks will enable you to bypass. We're not going to go into you have to have the difference between mechanical or electronic or whatever.
I've got a talent that'll handle that anyway.
Right. So you can find the room pretty easily. There are cameras that are watching the area. Whether or not they're going to capture anything, that's up to you and how you handle it. I will say that the lights they are flickering occasionally. Again, the whole place is kind of got that rundown feeling. You do notice on the third floor, and the hallways are quite long, so it's possible Ozric didn't notice them or they weren't there at the time. But further down on the other side of the hall from 307, which 307, I'm going to go by American conventions. 307 will be from the stairway, will be on your right-hand side, odds on the right, evens on the left. So on the left-hand side, probably you're guessing from the stairway, maybe at 310, maybe 312, there's a gentleman sitting outside the door on a chair, assumingly from that room. And just even at a glance down the hall, you can see, because it's relatively close to the stairs, you can see that he's got a Fusillade rifle leaned up against his chair. But that's a few doors down from 307 and on the other side of the hall.
Okay.
Just chilling with his rifle.
Well, he's not holding it. It's just kind of leaned up against the side of his chair. He looks to be like, we'll say he's reading a book.
Okay.
Okay, boys, just
Villains
wait.
can read books.
Yeah, they can.
We can be smart.
You guys just wait by the door.
Remains to be seen.
I will go take care of this guy. And I want
Again,
to
use your
he's
feminine
not in
wiles.
front of Gar's door.
Yeah, so you're gonna use your feminine wiles to seduce him.
So you, as I'm assuming you're heading towards Gar's door.
Slowly.
As you move towards Gar's door, you see the gentleman look up at you and kind of like flip his book closed where he's got his thumb like in between the pages, right?
Yeah.
He hasn't put it down yet, but he is watching you. If you stop in front of 307, and either are you going to knock or anything like that, or are you just going to try and get in?
I don't want to stop in front of 307 at this moment in time because I don't want to.
Oh, okay. What do you want to do?
Well, I'll
down to this guy.
Yeah,
You're walking straight towards him. So if Garita continues past 307 and is walking towards him, he puts down his gun and grabs the rifle and is just looking at you. The closer you get, the more he brings his hand to the housing where the trigger would be, and he's still looking at you.
When I get close enough, before he gets to the point where that's pointing at me, because that would just hurt, it's like, is that one the newer models or is it an older model?
Oh. Okay, give me an empathy roll with a bonus die.
Would I actually be able to use my sharpshooter to help with this?
Sure. Add in, you add in some specific sharpshooter lingo. Yeah, I'll give it to you. Sure.
Okay. So that you said empathy. And why?
Is it letting you apply sharpshooter?
Yes, it did. Oh,
Okay.
I clicked off a sharpshooter.
Oh, I see.
Oh, rubbish.
Ooh.
No, we pushing
Pusher
now.
now. Oh, pushing.
There we go.
Okay. So you got one.
Okay, let's
He's
go.
like, so he raises an eyebrow. You see him relax a little bit, but his hands are still on the weapon. He's like, oh, well, I mean, this is an 87. You talking about the 99s?
Yeah, I've been fancying wondering what those ones are like. Do you have any idea?
Well, do you stop? You're not walking towards him anymore?
No, I stop and I'll wait if he actually says I can approach.
Okay.
Like
So
I'm being respectful to his
he
space.
takes his hand off the trigger and the trigger housing and kind of, keeps his hand on the barrel and rests it on the ground. Rests the butt on the ground, and he says, well, I'll be honest with you, the 99s are okay, but the 87 has the better front bit for sighting in.
Yeah, I've been looking to figure out which one to get for when I go out delving. So you never know if the thing's out there, and if this has the better sighting. I guess this is one I should be looking at.
So when you mention delving, because you're not wearing an explorer's sigil, he says, oh, are you one of the toads from downstairs?
I've done work with them from time to time. I'm more freelance.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't see much use of this baby. It's really just a showpiece to keep people away. But, if you're interested, I know a good dealer.
That would actually come in quite handy. Yeah, I'd be interested.
So he rests it against the wall on the other side of himself from you. He kind of stands up and pulls like a notepad out of his pocket, writes down a name. He's like, come on, it's cool. You can approach, just indicating to you that he feels comfortable with you.
And I make sure I impose myself between him and the others.
Gotcha. So assuming you guys are watching this, you can see that Garita is blocking.
Yep.
So at least this guy, I won't speak to the cameras in the hall, but this guy can't see what you're doing if you're going to try and get in the door.
Oh, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here to do.
What it is, I can just lean against the wall and face against, if one of the cameras is behind my back, I can just sit there, waiting. Like, we can sit there and wait, and he's like, if he can look behind him and just not facing it, just pick the up behind his hands. And
so I will tell you, it's not as simple. Like, you can't really tell what the visual range or angle on the cameras are because they're in a housing of some kind. They're not hanging like 90s cameras that are on a swivel. It's like a ceiling mounted maybe like a dark half sphere over it, so you can't really
My
tell.
hope and
Yeah.
my theory is that these cameras are just in the hotel, and we've already told the hotelier downstairs that we were going to this room.
Sure.
And I'm hoping that he doesn't hit an alarm or anything like that, but we'll
Sure.
find out. We'll find out in about 30 seconds.
Now,
the thing
as
is,
you
we don't
begin
know
to
the
do
conditions
that,
of them are.
I will also tell Garita, as you approach the door and the rifleman closer, trying to get back in focus here, it's not working. The closer you get to the door, the more you can smell like acrid, kind of like chemical type smells. Why don't you give me a logic roll?
Oh, yes, you had to call for that one.
Dang, this focus. I gotta figure out a way to make my focus better. Maybe I just need a better camera, but this is the upgrade.
I need a better
It just
camera.
doesn't work.
Oh, here we go.
Nice.
Oh, look.
Oh
at
yes.
that.
Ooh, nice.
Son.
I'm
So-
not pushing it. I'm keeping it.
You can't say for certain, and I don't know, does Garita partake in any substances when she's not on the job?
Just her making sure she has her perfume. That's it.
Okay. So, you know it's not perfume, although you can smell a hint of maybe some kind of perfume or aeration that is trying to cover up certain smells. But you can smell like a rock, you can smell tobacco, you can smell some other chemicals. You would guess with that intelligence roll that this guy might be guarding some kind of like drug manufacturing setup, which would make sense if they have a guard outside.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get a roll from Edris to open the door.
So it's just click on the lockpick thing.
Yep. Plus, you're going to have to select a talent if you have one.
Yeah. What would you want? It's still grayed out. I've clicked on the lockpick. Which talent would it be? Or do I use one of my abilities like strength, agility?
Hang on, let me look at your automation. So,
There's not always a talent for everything. Remember?
oh yeah, you don't really have a talent for lockpicking.
So it'd be an agility or whatever you reckon.
That's
it
what.
is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Do I feel comfortable giving you Electro Specialist for this?
That's what I thought, but then I've just think.
Let me take a quick gander at what Electro Specialist does.
including computers.
Manipulating, repairing electronic devices. Technically, it is an electronic device.
An electric-
You are manipulating it.
Electronic
Yeah.
lock.
Okay. So
Key card, yes. Key card.
you can go with. I would go to your automations and select Roll Electro Specialist, and then hit Add Equipment Weapon and add your lockpicks from there.
I've got lockpick selected. I've got electro specialist.
I would back out. Oh, you have those both selected.
Yes, but it's still grayed out because it's asking me to select an attribute. I think
Well, yeah, that'll be agility.
agility. Okay, got it.
Oh dear, he's dazed.
Not anymore. He's not.
It's not hard.
Isn't he? He hasn't rested.
No, he.
What flavor are you on?
Oh
The
no,
rock.
true. The bird.
Gave him
Well done.
comfort.
No,
Yeah.
the bird. Yeah, he's pregnant. Remember, the bird made love to
Oh
his face.
come on, man! I've broken a lock as well.
Okay, so
Ugh.
it takes some time.
It's the equipment dice.
And-
so you broke the lock pick, not the lock.
Sorry, I broke the lockpick. Yeah, be gay. Sorry.
It takes some time. You feel like you've done some damage to the lock itself, actually, in addition to your picks.
Wah, wah.
Garita might be running out of interactions at this point. I don't know how long Garita wants to continue baiting this guy. Are you going to give Garita any indication that you've got the door open, or
Oh, we got it.
Or are you just going to go in?
Yeah,
you're still going to get in. It just takes time. If there had been anyone inside, things might have been different, but there isn't. You get in. Yeah, the game doesn't end just because you
No.
poorly on a situation like this. That's it. We're done.
I think I'm just going to go in because if I try and get Gareda's attention, then the guy's going to know.
Okay, so
what's going on.
Garita, go ahead and roll perception for me. You're going to get a bonus die because he rolled so poorly.
Thank you.
Edris and Rico can slip into the room.
Okay. Is that gonna be agility?
And Garita, you can hear them getting into the room behind you. So if you want to disengage, you can. If not, you can keep talking to the guy. He seems not smitten with you, but like he seems interested in talking to a gun lover, right? So
Yeah, we're doing
just
chop
chit-chatting. Okay, sure.
chop.
Okay. So we'll leave you in the hall with him, and we'll go into the bedroom with Rico and Edris. So as mentioned before, pretty small room, simple pallet bed, simple nightstand. What you can't see in the picture is maybe a chair and a small table on the other wall. Pretty tight. There is enough room for both you and Rico to stand and sit in here, but like that's about it. This room doesn't even have a toilet or a bath, which leads you to believe that there are communal toilets and baths on each floor. So yeah, you're in Gar's room.
I will. I'll signal to Rico. Have a look around. Get searching and start searching whatever under the bed and under the mattress.
Okay.
That sort of thing.
All
Any
right.
shelves or books or anything like that.
And there's a small
Right.
pantry with a heater, a minuscule sink. The room, without any rolls, I'll tell you right off the bat, it looks pretty uninhabited and may have been so for a time. But from what you can recall looking at the ledger, it's paid up for like 3 months.
Bit weird.
Yeah, maybe. There are some let's see, various litter on the floor, the kind of things that you would find with anybody who lives in a place, and some occasionals, like some sheets and maybe small magazines. If you pick any of them up and look at them, they're mostly about expeditions, artifacts, weird theories about the builders. None of it's coherent. None of it seems to be connected to the tablet that you're looking for.
No.
But let's... Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was going to say, you mentioned like there's a heater in there.
Uh-huh.
Can I check things like the heater for loose panels or anything that may have been... Anything that might have been hidden inside the heater or any...
Sure.
Anything
Go
that's
ahead.
like light switches and things like that.
Yeah, I'm checking
go
around the
ahead.
bed.
Either individually or helping each other, so somebody will get a bonus die. Give me an investigation roll.
Which is that insight?
Sorry, logic.
Oh, logic.
My logic is a 5.
Yeah, we'll go with you, Rico, because mine's only a 2, so I'll help.
Okay, so you're assisting Rico.
Yeah.
Rico's rolling 5 dice plus 1 bonus. Do you have any talents that'll help you with investigation?
Nope.
This is where you guys should have brought Oziel. Somebody should have been like, Oziel, you're coming. Okay, do you want to push?
This is.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So lost some hope, but got it. So as you're looking around the room, you test the heater. Again, it's not like a wood stove or anything like that. It's a straight up heater. It doesn't appear to have any loose panels or anything like that. It does appear to be out of order, but it's not. Doesn't have any missing panels, or loose panels, I should say. Nothing seems to open. But Rico's a pretty smart guy. And as you're going through everything, you're like, oh, wait, we didn't check the trash. So you empty the bin, and there are some other bits of occasionals, maybe some tissues in there, maybe some leftover, like, wrappers from various food. But you do find in the trash something that could be meaningful. So, go to your crew journal. Yeah, I have it in there. I just need to make it visible to everybody. Deet, deet, deet. What? Oh, there we go. It's like I should have more options. Okay, configuring ownership, all players, owner, save changes, and I will show it to you. Wait, how do I do that again? I guess this is the way. Oh, there we go. That's what I want to do. You find a ticket stub.
Right.
I look over at him.
In your pocket.
And the ticket stub is dated, although not on the actual stub there, but in reality, I guess I could have added that. Maybe I'll do that. The ticket stub is dated Eridani. What did we decide it was? Get to my calendar here. The ticket stub is dated Eridani 8. So roughly
6 days ago.
3 days before Najar's funeral.
Yeah.
6 days ago, yep.
Okay, put that in your pocket. Stash it away.
Yeah, I handed it over to you because you're probably a little easier to hide it than I am.
I will put that in my pocket. Stash it away.
So there's nothing else, like anything that we have to worry about in here, nothing that pops out?
Oh, there is also in one corner of the room what appears to be a broken chain, like a necklace chain that has a pendant with the black toad symbol stenciled onto it.
Ooh.
I tossed that over to him too.
Grab that.
That's it.
Let's go. Can creep
I
out.
guess, you know, like,
amazing.
Yeah, so it's like I'll go out first and just to make sure everything looks okay
Sweet.
and not have to come out.
So I think since Brian's gone. I was going to say Garita would notice when you came out.
He's going to be right back.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. You two are sleeping, so there's not much we can do with that. So we'll have to retcon when Brian comes back. But essentially, yeah, you can open up the door. Whatever you did to the door and the lock makes the door quite noisy. Maybe there's a weird kind of like grating sound when you try to open it or something, indicating that it's been messed up. It's not the smooth shh that you would expect in sci-fi. Not that it probably ever was, to be honest. So maybe it's nothing you did to it. But you think it was, because you definitely could have been done better there.
Just out of curiosity, Ryan, how much would an electronic lock cost to repair?
To repair?
If we're going
To
to fix
repair.
it, you mean?
I'm just thinking as I'm walking out, I'll just put some more rook on the side and say sorry about the lock, just for the receptionist, so he doesn't like get on the phone to the Zapty.
That's fair.
Depends what you say before it's fair.
Give me a logic test.
Ooh.
I mean, you don't have a catalog you can look
Can I
at.
ask Rico to do the logic test and I'll help?
No.
Rico, how much?
Oh, okay. If you ask him, you could ask Rico.
Yeah,
Rico, do you have any
yeah.
idea what
Typical
that
whiz.
lock would cost?
Quietly ask, how much do you think it would cost to repair that?
Well, you're the electro specialist. You should know.
It's
I
true.
don't have the logic. I could break them easily. There we go.
Rico figures for the damage that you've done to it, probably no more than 100.
Spare.
Or no, 100's a lot. You didn't break the thing. It's just damaged. For parts, because you got to remember, Rico probably thinks like a company man, right? So maybe the 100 that you quoted at first was also labor.
All retail and labor.
Right. For parts, maybe 25.
I'll chuck 30 down on my way out.
You're not going to pay for the parts and labour to get it fixed as well, like?
That's nice. Sorry about the lock, pal.
All right, so you guys head out, and Garita hears you come out. We're going to assume that Garita probably disengages and follows you after you leave.
Mhm.
Now, obviously, that didn't take the entire evening shift, but unless there's anything specifically you want to do for the rest of the shift that that your companions are sleeping during.
I need to
I'll go back and get some sleep.
I was going to say, because I lost a bit of hope in the last
Probably get some sleep.
couple of rolls.
Okay, I mean, if you guys want to all use the rest of the shift as your sleeping shift and start early in the morning, you can. Or you can,
No, I mean, if they're
just kind of chill out, or
if they go to sleep on the
Yeah,
next
go ahead.
shift, because we're sleeping early, we went to sleep early. If they then go to sleep on the normal shift,
Yeah, right.
The two of us are early, and I'm already thinking I could study again. I could get another talent.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you could do that too. So, I mean, my point is that are we going to wait until morning to do more, or are you going to wait until they wake up before you guys go to sleep to talk about what you want to do? Or maybe you can catch them before they're actually fully asleep this shift, because it didn't take that long. It could have taken a lot longer, but it really didn't. So do you guys want to talk about what your next steps are before we decide what to do with the rest of this shift and the next one? Because the next one is, the night shift, like 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. Probably not a lot of stuff you're going to do at that point in time, but maybe.
Well,
I maybe say we can figure out what this station 11 is on this ticket.
So if we get back to the ship, that's before Ozri and Ozil have gone to sleep properly, and we can have a bit of a chat about what we found at the hotel, and then we can either decide, right, we'll do this, but we'll have a sleep first, and then
Right. So Garita, they succeeded, they found some stuff, and they left. I assume you disengaged and left with them when they come out. You're muted.
I let them go ahead of me, like about by 5-10 minutes. So
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. And yeah, and you've got a name for a weapon supplier in Ship City if you want to talk to him. I'll come up with that name later.
Reed is collecting these contacts.
She's got a wee black book.
Yeah. Love it.
Okay, so you guys go back to the ship. This didn't take long at all. You probably can catch Ozil and Osric still awake. You guys can have a chat about what you want to do next.
Mhm.
It sounds like everybody's looking to get some rest in. My question is, do you all want to just use this shift to rest and then start at midnight and do more stuff? Or do you just want to rest for the rest of the day and then go out in the morning?
I'll rest for the rest of the day and go out in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
happy with that. I was thinking we were going to get an extra shift in and we could have done some studying, but if we're waiting for them to come
You
back
can.
before we go...
You can.
You could, yeah, you could.
No,
do that.
there's essentially, this didn't take up much time at all. So there's essentially two shifts. You can use one for sleep and one for study if anybody wants to
That's my plan. I was going to
learn something else, or
I'm going to study in the morning.
Yeah.
Which is the morning,
Okay.
as in 0 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
Right. Or maybe you just study before you go to sleep, right? And sleep on the evening shift. Either way, it doesn't matter, right?
Okay.
So anybody else who wants to do the same thing, spend some experience and then get a rest. I'll imagine that we're starting the next day in the morning. But do you want to have a discussion about what you want to do next first? You've got a ticket with some information on it.
Yeah, so we'll share that information. We found at the hotel, and the ticket had station 11 circled on it, and it was dated Eridani 8.
So does that just mean it's from Station 11 or to Station 11?
I think it's going to station.
Well,
yeah, so it's
well, we should know that from our knowledge generally as to how those.
So
work, I would imagine.
the way that this reads is this is a ticket for the Telmurian Tusk, which you assume is a freighter or a tug or something like that travels between Pier 17 and Edgetown and goes through all these stops: Pier 17, Spinward, Ironworks Gate, Station 4, Massad's Market, and so on. Station 11 would be one of the stops.
So whoever this ticket belonged to got off or met someone or whatever they did happened at Station 11.
Yeah.
3 days before Najar. 3 days before Najar's funeral.
Yeah.
Which would tie in with the speed of Najar's death.
Of his death, isn't it?
And then the funeral happened within 3 days.
We also found that pendant, that of the toad.
Black toad.
Yeah, it's got a black toad symbol on it. But, I mean, you guys already figured out that Gar was Black Toad.
Yeah.
So that's probably not a surprise.
Does it look as though it's just worn away and broken, or does it look like somebody ripped it off? If they ripped it off, you'd probably have stretching of the metal sort of thing before it broke.
Oh, the pendant. Good question. It looks like it's just worn. It doesn't look like it was ripped off during a conflict. Like, just worn, fell off, maybe got kicked to the side in haste of leaving the place. It doesn't look like it was under duress that it was removed.
And do we know where Station 11 is on the map?
So Pier 11 would be in... gotta get some stuff out of my way here. Pardon me. Pier 11 would be in Hull Town. Which makes sense, because Hull Town is the part of the city that is... I mean, and we can jump back to the map if you want to. Back out of the Saladian Rose.
I was in the middle.
You are.
Getting my own way there.
Yep.
So I can just pull everybody to the main map. So Hull Town is up here. And this is the kind of place where you need this kind of like ferrying service, because Hull Town actually shifts and changes and grows and shrinks over time as various hulls and sometimes wrecks and sometimes functioning ships and platforms and domes just kind of get added or become derelict, and it's a chaotic place. But yeah, Pier 17, we'll say that Rico, since he's from Hull Town, is like, oh yeah, I know Pier 17. That's up in Hull Town.
I can lead the way.
Well, I would suggest we go and investigate there and find out where this guy was going. If he was going to Pier 17, or sorry, Station 17, Station 11 rather, what was he doing there? What's unusual about it? And that was 3 days. I mean, how long before Najar's funeral did he actually die? When was his time of death?
Najar, his funeral, the turnaround on his funeral was very fast. Your assumption, and based off of the case that the Zapti looked into it, the assumption is that he died on the 8th.
Right.
This ticket, that is the date of his death.
But you didn't find any signs of any tickets in his quarters.
Correct.
No.
Interesting.
Which, if Gar was in Hulltown on the day of Najjar's death, that might be an alibi for him to not be involved in the murder.
Somebody want to give me a logic roll?
I will try a logic roll.
I'm also,
Investigation works.
I'm handy with the logic. Now we're not searching an area for clues, are we?
I mean, you're investigating a clue, so I investigation works.
Okay, so I'm using the investigator talent, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
In that case, I will assist you.
Okay, so you get a bonus die from Ozri assisting you.
So that's
Applying my
investigator is
logic
already
to your
applied,
logic.
and then I'm adding one bonus dice.
Yep.
Okay, and it's on logic.
Mm-hmm.
Come on,
There you go.
3 successes.
So with three,
I'll accept.
I will say that it's fairly apparent to Sherlock Oziel that that if Gar is not the perpetrator,
we don't
which
think he is.
signs are now pointing to that he's not because they were friends, it's possible that Gar might have come upon the crime afterwards with his bird, which is why the bird's feather is in Najjar's apartment.
In his apartment.
And then, knowing what you've learned about Gar, that he's more likely to flee,
Covered off, aye.
same day he probably fled to whatever Station 11 is.
Yes. We need
Well,
Now,
I think
unfortunately, there's no kind of like central internet or anything that you can use, so you'll have to go to Pier 17 to figure out what Station 11 is.
Check out what Station 11 is, yeah. I think that's our next step, but that's tomorrow, right? We've not done the rest yet.
Next move.
That's tomorrow,
That's
correct.
the next move then, I think.
Okay. And just as an aside, if we find Gar, or if we're speaking to somebody who knows where he is, we are concerned for his safety because we are aware that there's an assassin on the loose interested in dealing with him. So we are looking to offer him protection in return for anything he knows about, or indeed if he has this tablet.
And you offer him protection?
Yeah.
We can shelter him with the guild, can't we?
You could offer that, yeah.
I mean, we should check with Master Muska first. I mean, things have been said about offering things to people which I feel were a mistake, but...
Don't go there. Don't need to mention that again.
That's what happens when you send me and Max to do the deals.
But I feel we should, if we are going to offer guild protection, I mean, we can offer our protection.
Well, yeah,
then see
I've
whether we
spoken-
can get Master Muska to extend the guild.
I've spoken to
I'm
Master
sure she
Musket
is.
about, and she knows about Bootaleb, so she knows who he is.
She didn't say anything negative about
Also,
him, did she?
it
No,
appears
she thinks he's a
Bootaleb
good guy.
would not just a friend of Najjar, but a good friend. And our Muska loved Najjar, so I think she's going to be all for that. I think we're safe that we can offer Bootaleb the protection.
I think it's safe to
and
say
stuff
the
like
enemy
that.
of my enemy's enemy, but saying my friend of my friend is necessarily a friend.
But
The enemy of my enemy is my enemy's enemy. I love that.
Muska's
Yeah.
a good egg, remember?
we're just
Muska's a good egg, and she wants,
not me.
Not quite over this days yet.
she wants this investigation solved and wrapped up in a couple of days, and Muska's a good egg. I'm pretty sure we can offer the protection of the guild if we can get Bootaleb to stick around.
Well, I mean,
and talk to us.
I think we're jumping. If we need to find out what's at Station 11. Was he meeting
Agreed.
someone? Was he
Agreed.
there? Was he going to somewhere?
I
there?
suggest that you spend the rest of this shift asleep and we leave at midnight.
Well, I think some people wanted to spend some experience, and that brings me
I've already
to...
done it.
And I'm saying, let's leave at midnight.
I've already done it.
No, you're feeling pumped now.
I've spent
Well,
my
yes, Master
experience.
Musker has said it's urgent.
That's true.
This is true. Nah, I'm going to sleep.
And we know
So
that
you-
there's no assassin hunting.
You would have access to the guild that late at night, and you can assume that Hull Town is probably not shut down at that point in time at night,
I'm
although
thinking
it's
it's kind
difficult
of
to
like
say.
Vegas. It's kind of like Vegas
Never
or something. It's open 24/7.
There are parts of Ship City that are more like Vegas. Hull Town is a combination of residential spaces and markets, floating markets, changing markets, things like that. So it's likely there's still activity there at night. The chasm tends to quiet down in the evening, in the night shift, but the haze doesn't. Aluminum Bay tends to quiet down somewhat, although it's pretty active now because of the great ship that's just pulled in. Yeah, it varies. But there's certainly nothing wrong with wanting to do that, although, as I said, some people have expressed that they want to spend some time studying, so it's up to you guys. We know what Ozric wants to do.
What other people kind of whether they override him is up to them, but he's keen to go.
Listen, we understand you've got a lot of energy after spending the last 24 hours in another world and then sleeping. So just let the rest of us rest until the morning, which will be...
I could do with sleep. I could do with just getting some rest and having a bit of a recover moment, because my hopes...
I've already spent...
So I think we're
good.
So I think we're getting to a good position, though, to think about wrapping up this particular session. However, obviously we have to pass out XP, so that'll give anybody who's earned XP today a chance to say that, oh, I spent that shift on this, right? So that'll nicely segue. So Ozric and Oziel have already rolled. Since we're going to get a sleep in there, why don't we get a D6 roll from Rico, Garita, and Edris for hope gains?
Okay.
Oh, come on.
I didn't see it. What was it?
Nice.
A 1.
Oh, jeez.
Didn't
Well,
want
I
to
got 4.
fly, but
I'm good.
You haven't used your keepsake this session.
I
If you want
haven't,
to use your
so
keepsake.
I will sit down and I will pull out the
Crayons.
little painting
Your
box
crayons.
that I've got.
It's crayons.
I'm sad you didn't.
The box with colours.
No, they're paints.
Paint.
They may be pastels, but they're paints.
Your little garden in your little.
I'm
pot.
sad that you didn't bother to do that while you were high on the
I
mushroom
forgot
soup.
all about it, if I'm honest.
Oh, yeah, that would have been fun.
oh, that would have been hilarious.
I didn't lose my hope until I was cured of my.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
mushroom
that's true. So it wouldn't have worked anyway.
But yeah,
I'm assuming Garita hasn't lost any. This is why you didn't roll, Brian.
No, I did roll. I lost one.
Oh, did you? Oh, I missed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I rolled 5.
Oh, I see it now. Garita had 5. Rico
Can I
had
have
4.
the spare? I'll
Gotcha.
take the
Okay,
spare if that's
so
all right.
Is it 1 back for that?
no,
isn't it?
can't pass the spares around. So you guys are going to do that. We'll figure out experience in a moment, but I do want to end on a bit more of a cliffhanger. So this is what we're going to have to do. Everybody overrode Ozric, right? But I'm going to assume the original plan held in play. Ozric slept during the evening shift and was awake early in the night shift.
That's what...
So while you're sitting around in the evening, the early morning, 0 dark 30, right, on the ship, there is a visitor to the ship. You hear the ping that somebody is outside. I assume Oziel is also awake.
Yep. Still there.
So we'll assume you also, in addition to intercoms, there's also like a screen, right? You're on a ship. This is an advanced shuttle. So you see, whoever bothers to look, because you're both awake, a robed figure wearing a mask.
Uh-oh.
The feed is in black and white, though, so you can't tell what color the mask is.
But what are the patterns like?
So the patterns, if Oziel sees it first and calls Ozric over, Ozric can identify the pattern as Second Servant Nima.
Fine.
One
Well, in that
of
case,
First
I
Servant
hastily-
Kerr's assistants.
So
I
when,
hastily brushed my hair.
so when, when we hear the knock and I see the feed, I'm like, the pen that I'm fidgeting with just goes like flying up, and I'm like, oh, and I'm like, Ozri, it's one of yours.
And I shall throw the door open and give all the appropriate obeisances, etc.
So, as you begin your protocol, Nima says, "No, please, it is I that must." And she begins to make a few movements and utter a few utterances that to you recognize as a notification of a death. You're muted, David.
Sorry, it's not the master, is it? Please tell me.
I'm so sorry, Mibo. First Servant Kerr was found a few hours ago.
But
he's no longer with us.
He was getting better. Was it his illness? Oh, no, it wasn't.
That is why I'm here. It's difficult to say. But I recently received a runner from him telling me that should anything happen, I was to contact you.
Please, come in. I need to sit down.
And she follows you to wherever you want to go in your ship.
Sit down, and I will ask Ozil if he could make us some tea, and I will talk to her. And I saw him only so many hours ago, and
making some tea.
Indeed, I saw him shortly after that. A mere 2 hours after you spoke with him, I suppose. He sent a runner to me, and I came and spoke to him, and he informed me that he was looking into something. He was concerned for your safety, and that if anything were to happen to him, I was to contact you immediately and inform you.
Well, who is looking to his death?
What's the word I would use?
Council?
Well, yeah, maybe. Officiant. That's what I want. The officiant has not yet been selected, but it could be any of us in his ranks. As you know, it is generally one close to him, but second only in rank, that would officiate. Do you wish to take control? Do you wish to officiate?
Well, again, out of character, I do not believe I have the rank to officiate, because
you are under him.
I'm under him, but she is second servant who is also under him.
That's true.
And I believe she is probably the most likely to be selected. So I will state that I feel that, having seen him recently, that there is probably foul play afoot, and offer the service of myself and my compatriots who are investigators to assist her in determining the cause of death and the likely malefactors. Was she aware that Davudon had come up in our investigation?
Okay, so a couple of things. First, when you say that you would be willing to, with with your crew. You've now pledged your crew to looking into his death for her, and that I assume in that you would also intimate that you would back her as an officiant for dealing with. She releases a breath that she seems to have been holding and says, "Thank you. First Servant Kerr was very, out of all of us, pleased with you. But I think you understand that there may have been some that would be less pleased with your current affiliation were you to be officiant. Yes, I will take on that role. And also, I will gladly accept your help in investigating what has occurred, because I do not believe that it was his sickness. He had a cold. He may have been getting worse, yes, but it's only been a couple of days. Sometimes it takes time to get over something like that. I believe something else has occurred."
Indeed. Was she aware that the name Davudon had come up in our investigations?
Are you bringing that to her right now?
Oh, yes, I am.
Okay. She says, "No, I've heard nothing of the sort. Davudon, the name is not familiar to me."
He, according to First Servant Kerr, he is an assassin, and his visage and appearance has emerged during my investigations. And I was concerned initially that First Servant Kerr might have been targeted by him, but it did only appear to be sickness. But
well, you're certain with the role that you had in that session, you are certain he was not targeted in the same way. Yeah.
I will tell her that at that time he had not been targeted, but given the investigation I had asked him to look into, which was connected with Davudon, it may well have changed.
Well, I must see to this immediately then. If that were the case, we need to make sure that the site is secure.
Evidence must be preserved, yes. I will bring my assistants to help as soon as possible.
Very good. Give me until at least midday tomorrow to give clearances to your entire crew. You know that things can be prickly with non-Coriolites traveling in the sanctum.
Yes, understood.
But if you give me until midday, I will make sure that none of your crew will be accosted should you choose to. Well, I know you will come to the site and assist me.
I will give her the names of my fellow crew members, so that all is the path can be smoothed.
She merely nods, but you know that she's an algebraist and has perfect memory.
Of course.
So,
don't we all?
Yeah, exactly. So she, with a bit more of rush now, heads out because there's a lot she needs to take care of if she has to secure potential evidence.
Does she need me to record a statement or anything for her to take with her?
As of now, no. I will take the authority of the officiant, and that will give me control over his residence and his offices until such time as an heir is put into place.
Presumably, I know how First Servant Kerr felt about Second Servant Nima.
Oh, yes. He has a perfectly fine relationship with Second Servant Nima. You feel like he liked you more because
but
you
she's
had
better fitted for the role.
Yeah, because she.
In that case, I will make it clear that I back her for eventually becoming First Servant Nima.
Okay, all right. She bows to you when you say that and says, I would appreciate it. It will speed things along with the people that matter.
Very good. I thank
right,
her
so-
for honouring me with her
Oh.
visit.
And she thanks you for your hospitality. Also, manages a nod to Oziel, who she's not really engaged with.
Well, I
Although
haven't
she
formally introduced her.
right. Although she did, nod pleasantly when you brought the tea. Not that you could tell because she hasn't taken her mask off. She did not.
That's why we
though,
have
you can see that.
straws.
I totally miss it. If she did give me a nod, I totally never saw it.
Yeah, you're unaware. And so she leaves, and in a bit of a rush. And you note that outside there are beyond assuming you walk her to the door, beyond the range or the vision of your cameras, there's actually a small retinue of like 5 other Coriolites that are you would know from their markings are underneath her. So she's been traveling with some protection, which is not uncommon when Coriolites come down to Aluminum Bay, particularly if they have to go through the haze. So yeah, they head back, and that leaves you to deal with this news until your companions wake, and Oziel to do his studies. You'll actually have time to do any studies as well, maybe that'll take your mind off of the loss of your mentor.
Well, I shall spend the rest of this shift sorting through all my notes about funerals and the procedures for dealing with this, that, and the other. In other words,
Right.
get the paperwork and everything in place.
Right,
And I'll pay
so you can
attention to
assist.
where he gets all this
Nima.
paperwork
Oh, yes.
and stuff, because I'm studying librarian, so I'll just
I-
check.
I'm sorry.
watch
I'm
how
sorry.
he
These
does
are
all that.
these are Coriolite materials. These are not.
Yeah, I don't think he wants you looking over his shoulder for this.
Oh, is it one of them? This is
You're doing it
Coriolite-
anyway?
Coriolite matters, is it? Oh, no, I get it. I understand. I'll walk
See,
away.
you do understand. These are personal.
Oh, shoot. What did I do? Are we good?
Okay.
Okay.
Good, dude.
Yeah, you
I
just,
I
will
just
allow
dropped my
those-
book on my keyboard.
Put it on pause for a second. That's
yeah,
all.
you just froze
Okay.
the game.
Yeah, that's what you did.
All right, so
I will allow Oziel to persuade me not to wake everybody up, just to get started.
okay.
Oh, no, don't wake everybody up.
well, and she told you have to give her until midday at least to.
Yes, but we need to
Uh,
make sure
to
everybody's got
prepare.
their good clothes ready. Have they done
Mm.
their laundry?
Okay, so let's see. That means we're gonna end there for today. So we'll do some experience,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then that might affect what you guys want to learn. Because again, all of you have essentially a shift in there somewhere to spend some experience.
Mm-hmm.
I did librarian level 2.
Okay, so I do have to back up a little bit and apologize to you, Oliver. I don't know if this is going to affect anybody else, but I just happened to read that if anybody has a rank 2 talent, we've been doing it a little wrong, right?
Oh, okay.
It says between sessions, although I'm still going to allow the shift, you can spend XP to improve talents or learn new talent. A new talent at level 1 costs 5.
Mhm.
Increasing a talent 1 level costs an amount of XP equal to 5 times the new level. So rank
So
2
it
is
does cost
10.
for rank 2.
Rank 3 is 15.
Right, okay, hang
Mhm.
on. Hang on. I can easily fix
So
it.
if you need to
so-
adjust some things, you'll want to do that.
Okay, so I need to knock my bird back down to 2 because I only
And if
spent
you need
5.
to give yourself some XP back, you can do that.
Yeah, okay.
So no, I'm gonna knock
My
off the
bad on that.
librarian 2. I'll change the librarian 2, so that's still on 1.
So that gives you 5 back.
No, because
So you should be back to 17.
no, because I did 2. Remember, I went from 17 down to 7 because I spent 5 twice. So if I just leave it at
Oh, I see. So you're at Librarian 2 instead of Librarian 3.
so yeah, no, I never did
Because you
librarian
spent 10
3.
to go to
I
2.
never did librarian 3. So I've not done librarian 2. All I've done now is I've done investigator 2. So I have spent 10 XP to do investigator 2.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm going to spend because now the other one I wanted to do was a level 2, but I've only got 7 XP, so I now have to wait until I get my XP to do another one, unless I do something else. So I'll leave that for now.
Okay, well, we'll let you figure that out while I figure out the XP here. Did you participate in the session? Yes, everybody gets 1 for that. Did you roleplay your quirk? Yeah, I think Oziel did. Ozri did.
I smoked an entire packet.
Yeah, you did. I don't know if Edris really did anything like dangerous this session. You're muted, Dave.
Yeah.
Sorry. I said the closest thing was picking the lock, but I don't even think that qualifies as
No.
real peeking.
Rico didn't play up the superstition at all.
Nope.
And then Garita mentioned perfume.
Yeah.
So I'll give it to you, but keep in mind, talk it up more. Talk about like what scent you're wearing today or something like that. You know, play into it. So
you should have suggested to the guard that they apply a little bit more Febreze. I mean, or cover it with a scent like this one.
Oh yeah, that would have been good too.
That would work.
But you did mention it, and so we recognize it's there. So I'll give you the point for that. Did you explore an unknown location? No. Did you investigate a mystery? Yes. You're still investigating. Everybody gets a point for that. Plenty of investigation to go around. Did you instigate or partake in intrigue? I'm going to give you all the point for that because everybody was kind of involved in the plan. Even Ozri, who wasn't there, ended up like doing some intrigue before that. And there was a little bit of intrigue with Oziel and the letter from your faction, which will also come back. I'll let you double dip a little bit there. Did you help another explorer? Edris did.
I didn't do it with a dice roll, but I was making a point throughout the first half of the session and more that I was trying to get Ozri to his bed and trying to make him rest. So I was helping him. I was making a point of trying to help him, even though it wasn't.
And I helped you with the logic roll.
And
you did.
That was a mechanical.
Rico helped Garita by being intimidating. I think Garita helped with something.
And Garita helped by diverting the guard.
Yeah, that's true.
Did.
Yeah.
So, everybody gets the help point. Yeah, everybody gets the help point.
Yep.
Did you interact with your affiliated faction through your contact or background? Garita did. Oziel did.
I didn't want to. Not that way.
Ozri didn't want to, but it counts.
Yeah, but I've now lost my contact.
Yeah.
No, now second servant Nemia. Nemia? Did I say Nemia?
Nima. You said Nima.
Nima.
What makes it worse?
Second servant Nima is kind of taking the place of first servant Kerr.
It might even.
And I think we now know from the way you've been building it up, she'll become first servant Nima, right? So.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing for that I'll have to tell you about, but I wanted to bring it into play, and I think it worked perfectly.
Yep.
So yeah, hopefully you were keeping track of the points that you get there for yourself.
Yep.
6.
That's it.
Okay.
Crew.
Can I now spend that to get my bird 3? Because I now have the full number of points.
Yes, you may.
Have 15. Can I now spend 10 to take librarian 2?
Yes.
I'll wait.
And anybody else who wants to upgrade anything, once you figured out if you have to get anything back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll check it out next time.
So crew points, did you take on a challenge together? Not really. I mean, this whole thing is challenging, but I don't think that counts. I don't want to keep giving out crew points each session just for that. So did no delve, no new builder glyphs or new artifacts. No promised favors.
Not yet. We discussed promising a favor from our guild.
Not yet, but
not done yet.
I think one's coming. No turning in artifacts. No assistance from the bird in desperate circumstances. It wasn't desperate.
No.
So yeah, that's it. And I think that's where we'll call it today.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Dear, I've lost my master.
Just want to make sure I've got my XP right before we finish here. I had 17, and I spent 10, so I went down to 7, and then I got 6, so I should have had
15.
13.
13.
And then I've spent 10, so I've got 3 left, right?
3. Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Making sure I've done it properly on screen, on record, so I don't make a mess of my XP again like I did last time.
Right.
So I have got
And hopefully everybody figured out. I don't know if anybody else had gone up to rank 2 on anything, but hopefully we got all that figured out.
I've got that figured out. For two talents I've done tonight, so that's pretty happy days. Okay.
Yes, it just goes 5, 50.
No, I meant before I went over the fact that it's actually 10 and not 5. I know you fixed yours, but okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the game, Brian. Thanks for joining me, gentlemen. Everybody on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. This was session 6. We will return in 2 weeks for session 7. I am RxOliver. This is the gang. Thank you for watching. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.